this is Iain Lee, BBC Three Counties Radio, 3 minutes past 6. It's the 31st of October. Ooh, spooky. It's not spooky, but it's Halloween. We have some various kind of Halloween-themed things coming up, including a haunted house that I went to in Dunstable a couple of weeks ago. I believe Justin Dealey is doing something spooky. I'm not quite sure what. We'll find out soon. We have a healer coming in. A mystic crystal healer, is that what they're called? I don't know, he's coming in. That's not particularly spooky. He's going to heal me. And good luck with that. And also coming up on the show, police forces in the three counties step up patrols for Halloween. Do you find it fun or frightening? Learner drivers cause congestion in Caddington. Are the roads being clogged up with learners where you live? And Ronnie Wood is to marry his girlfriend. There's a 31-year age gap. Can age gap relationships ever be successful? You can get in touch in lots of ways. You can email 3cr@bbc.co.uk. You can text 81333, starting your text 3CR. Or the best way to get in touch is you give us a call, 08459 455 555.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Now, it's Halloween, which means you may be worried about your house or your car being covered in egg and flour. Our local police forces in Beds, Herts and Bucks have told BBC Three Counties that they'll be stepping up targeted patrols tonight. Thames Valley Police, which covers Milton Keynes and Buckinghamshire, says last Halloween was the busiest day of the year for them. Wow. Our reporter Jessica Cooper was out with the police in Milton Keynes last night. Morning, Jessica.
Good morning.
What happened last night?
Well, it was an interesting night. I arrived and I got in the 4x4 police truck. I was given high vis.
That's quite cool.
Yeah, it was cool. I was hoping we would have to press the blue lights and speed off at times, but we didn't.
You didn't use the blues and twos?
No, we didn't.
That's a shame.
And I was with PC Jason Rowe, who is the neighbourhood supervisor from the community policing team in Milton Keynes. So he has an area of Milton Keynes which he basically spends time patrolling around, driving around, walking through the estates, looking out for anything. And it was interesting how he could spot things that were completely oblivious to me. We drove down a road and he saw two men who he said had come round a corner from a property as if they had maybe been by the fence or in an area where they shouldn't have been.
Yeah.
I totally didn't notice that. And anyway, he stopped them and wound the window down. And my heart was thudding, thinking of the kind of confidence you need, and you never really know what somebody's going to be like when they get to the car. One of them had a hood on. Turned out when he took his hood down, he was actually much older than we both thought.
Right.
But yeah, just talking to people, basically finding out what they're up to, showing other residents in the area that they are about, and they talk to people all the time. At one point last night, we got a call about lasers being shone at aircraft.
Oh, that's so that's so annoying when that happens. I've seen that thing where they get those laser pens that can fire up like half a mile into the air. Yeah,
it sounds like such a tiny thing, but actually it could blind the pilot so that they don't really see where they're going for a space of time. So we went to an area, spoke to people in that area. Again, it was kind of like a needle in a haystack trying to find somebody in an area. So we had to call that off and go on with our rest of our patrolling. And at one point during the night, we went past a woman's house who, Jason explains, had specifically asked for the police to patrol in her area over Halloween.
Earlier on today, a lady came into the police station asking for some of our no trick-or-treat posters. She particularly wanted them to stop trick-or-treaters coming to her house, and because last year her house was targeted, she had eggs and other items thrown at her house, and unfortunately the items that were thrown did break a window, and she ended up having to pay for a window to be replaced.
I always thought the threat of a trick on Halloween was just that. It was just a threat, and if you went, no, go away, oh, all right then, mister. And they would go, but they actually do throw eggs and flour and stuff, do they? Yeah,
they definitely do.
Jeez.
I don't know what it has to do with Halloween, but it seems to have been developed as the way to celebrate Halloween, especially for some teenagers.
America. It's, these Americanisms that come over. How are the local forces, the police forces, planning for Halloween this year?
Well, I think they all agree that the problem is mostly going to be around antisocial behaviour, things like eggs and flour being thrown, and the ways of reducing that. I spoke to all of our three forces yesterday, and they each gave me some figures for last year, which we can't directly compare to each other because of the size of the areas they're covering and also the way that the information is given. But Thames Valley have said that Halloween was their busiest day last year. They recorded the highest level of crime.
That's surprising.
If you think of New Year and Christmas and other times of year, like even when there's been the World Cup and big football games, the fact that Halloween is the day when they record the most
incredible.
crime. And in Milton Keynes alone, 63 crimes. Most of them were things, theft from vehicle, criminal damage, also arising assaults and things. Elsewhere in Hertfordshire, the police there say there were 199 offences, which they said was an 84% increase on the same period the week before. So if you compare Halloween last year to the Monday beforehand, 84% increase in crime. And Bedfordshire Police said, in fact, that they think New Year is their busiest time, but Halloween is definitely busy for antisocial behaviour. They had about 1,300 calls last year, which was actually a drop, but that figure does include all 999 calls, so that isn't just Halloween calls. And all of our forces have made posters available. There's one here which basically says no trick or treat.
So you put this in your door, in your window, do you? No trick or treat.
And that little bit at the side you can pull off and put on your letterbox if you wanted to.
If you don't want to be disturbed by Halloween callers, cut out this notice, display it in a prominent position by your front door. And does this work?
Well, the idea is it does and should, and that's all the police forces are doing it. It's something from the Home Office, basically, so that if people can basically make it really clear if they don't want trick-or-treaters. And we're mentioning that problem with eggs and flour. There are also posters that newsagents and supermarkets can display saying that they obviously aren't going to sell eggs and flour to people who are teenagers in Halloween costumes.
That seems mad that you have to ban the sale of eggs and flour to kids.
I know.
They can't make pancakes.
It's a bit bizarre. And last night, on that topic of eggs and flour, I spoke to this teenager who a couple of years ago got involved in throwing eggs.
I didn't really chuck it. I might have chucked one or two, but I was just like, me and my girls, we were doing it, but the boys do it, and we were just like running, and everyone's like, run, run, run. It's like that adrenaline rush. Kids, they love that, do you know what I mean?
So why wouldn't you do it now then? What's changed?
When you grow up, you realise, like, what if my nan got egged? I would be so annoyed. Like, she can't go out there and clean it all up. That's out of order, do you know what I mean? That means I've got to go around there and clean it up for her. I know mates that my age, that they'll probably still be doing that this year. Some people grow up faster than others, don't they?
Yeah. So, hang on, was that a boy or a girl?
That was a girl.
That was a girl. So the only reason she doesn't throw eggs anymore is in case someone does it to her gran, then she has to go and clean up her gran's house.
Yeah, I mean, we had a longer conversation about it, and she did say she did it before, but she wouldn't do it now, but she does know people who probably will be doing it tonight who are her age.
Listen, I'm young and fit and I can look after myself, but I imagine that this time of year is particularly worrying for older people. What reassurances have there been for them?
Well, I was speaking yesterday to somebody at South Buckinghamshire Council, and in that area, the local police have been to visit people who they know are vulnerable in the community to make sure that they're feeling all right ahead of tonight. Also reassure them that if their doorbell rings, they don't have to answer it, and they can put the poster up, and they've also got the number for the local police. In that area, apparently in the last 3 years, it has been especially quiet, but I think with the older generation, it's the fear of crime and the fear of people being outside if you're living on your own, knowing that people are all about tonight. So it's just, police are saying it's just about being sensible. Go to houses where there are pumpkins if they seem to be getting involved with Halloween.
Pumpkin outside is the traditional, you can come and knock in here and get a Mars bar.
Yeah, exactly. And if you're near a sheltered housing area or area where it looks like there are older people living, maybe just try and avoid that area. But it remains to be seen what will happen tonight, really, whether it will be busy or not for
Jessica,
our police.
No doubt we'll be speaking about this tomorrow to see what happens. Thank you very much, Jessica Cooper there. 08459 455 555. Are you worried about Halloween? Are you worried about tonight? Or do you think it's a bit of a laugh? Everyone should lighten up and just get on with it. Do let us know. We'll speak to you after this. Elton John and Kiki D. Of course, there are some songs you don't even need to say that, don't you? You don't need to introduce who it is or what it is. And maybe I should stop doing that. Good morning, this is Iain Lee, BBC Three Counties Radio. Are you concerned or a little bit worried about Halloween this evening? Is it a pain in the backside for you, or do you thoroughly enjoy it? And everybody who whinges should just lighten up a little bit. Well, as we have said, it's Halloween. Ups and downs, highs and lows. If you're worried about it or think it's a right old laugh, give us a call. 08459 455 555. Later on in the show, you'll hear when I went to a haunted house in Dunstable. No, it's not like a big mansion or anything. It's just a normal terraced house We took some ghost hunters, we met the lady who owns it, and, well, you'll find out exactly what happened a little bit later on. But it wouldn't be Halloween without sending our creepy reporter, Justin Dealey, out and about in the three counties. Good morning, Justin.
Very harsh, Ian. Very, very harsh
but
indeed.
fair. Harsh but fair. Whereabouts are you this morning, Justin?
Well, I'm on my way to Langleybury Mansion in Hertfordshire. Now, it is a creepy place. It is a Grade 2 listed building. It's...
Hang on, why do you say that in a spooky voice? It's a Grade 2
listed building. It's very, very creepy.
Yep.
It's in the middle of nowhere, so it's in the countryside. Now, you have this huge house which is empty,
Yep.
and there is a school next door to it as well. That closed in the 1990s. It has been open to the public for the very first time this week, especially for Halloween. So, from what I hear...
Have you been drinking this morning?
No. From what I hear, some very odd things have been happening here, but now it is a popular film location, so Great Expectations, St Trinian's 2, Psychoville and Adele's Rolling in the Deep video were all filmed here. I'm going to be live at this mansion before 7 o'clock this morning, being very scared, I believe. I've been told not to go into the cellar. Ian, I can tell you, we are going into the cellar.
That's exactly what I want. Just be quiet for a second, Justin. Hang on, just be quiet. Can you hear those spooky noises?
What spooky noises?
Oh, my God. Thank you, Justin. We'll speak to you later on. Genuinely terrifying that man has had a job for so long. Well, that'll be good. I'm looking forward to that. He's going to go in the cellar. Don't go in the cellar. Michael Jackson, Thriller. This is Iain Lee, BBC Three Counties Radio. 08459 455 555 is the telephone number if you want to give us a call. I'm keen to get your views on Halloween. Pain in the backside or a little bit of harmless fun? You can text as well, 81333, starting your text 3CR. Now, learner drivers in part of Bedfordshire need to be moved on to stop traffic congestion. That's according to a councillor. Richard Stay has written on his blog that people are puzzled why so many learner drivers use the village roads in Caddington. He says there are often queues of learners doing three-point turns on estate roads. Our reporter Victoria Cook has been to Caddington to speak to people in the area.
They can get very busy here and Slip End, and in the mornings they're a nightmare. Like I say, more so Slip End, because they're just everywhere over there, and they just slow everybody down, like, you know. Basically, I think they should go on an industrial estate out the way. That's where they should be learning to drive until they can drive properly and keep in flow with the traffic.
So you're a learner driver. Tell me what it's like while you're learning to drive on roads around here.
People get up the back here pretty close and that. It's like they've got no time for learners.
Do you think it gets busy around the Caddington area with learner drivers?
It does, yeah. We get a load of them around here, yeah.
The only place I've seen learner drivers is around Elm Avenue, when they always use that Ledwell Road and the next close to practice reversing. No, I haven't seen any learner driver causing a problem around here.
I can't say it. They've all got to learn. They do drive me mad, but then I think about my daughters who will be doing it soon, and I try to get a bit more patience.
But they've got to learn somewhere, I suppose, but there must be better places than around a little village like this with one bad road, you know, or two bad roads, perhaps, to that one.
And it has an impact on the whole village?
Well, it does, yeah. Especially around the side streets, you know, you'll drive around the corner and someone's coming backwards at you, you know, and a bit off-footing.
Well, Dave Bailey is from the Dave Bailey Driving School in Buckinghamshire. He joins me on the line now. Good morning, Dave.
Good morning.
Do we have enough patience, do you think, with learner drivers?
I think there could be a little bit more patience, but I don't think everyone is impatient. There's a lot of patient people out there.
Do you find, though, when you're out sometimes with a learner driver, and maybe they're not the best, you know, it's an early lesson, that you get people up your backside or people flashing or beeping?
I think the key, when you do eventually get the student out on the road, the student is actually doing the speed limits. I think when people want to get from A to B as quickly as possible, they tend to maybe be doing a little bit faster.
Are you suggesting, David, that some people out there break the speed limits?
I certainly am, yes, I certainly am.
How do you choose your training routes, David? Do you have... I remember when I was learning to drive, oh my God, 22 years ago, that there were kind of set routes that a lot of the driving instructors favoured. Do you have a set route that you like to go around?
Well, initially, the way that you would do it is get the student up and running. So obviously they've got to be able to control the car first, turn left, turn right. But unfortunately, the DSA have set routes. Yes, they have set routes.
Oh, really? There are set routes?
There are set routes for a driving test, and you you do tend to be doing these set routes, yes.
And where would you take... I can't remember my first few lessons. I can't remember what we did, if we drove anywhere or where we sat. What do you do in the very first lesson? Do you let them move the car around a bit?
Oh, crikey, yes.
Really?
The first lesson is about getting the student able to set the car up so they're nice and comfortable, and then move off and stop. The correct procedure, the observations, the POM routine, prepare the car to move, the observations, and the move away, giving due signals if necessary.
This councillor, Richard Stay, who is upset that so many learner drivers are using the roads in Caddington, what would you say to him?
I totally sympathise with him. Logistically, whenever you pick a student up, perhaps in Caddington, you've got to give value for money, so you've got to find somewhere quite close so you can take the student to initially get them off and running. So I'm not familiar with Caddington, I've got to be honest, but I've got set places that I would take a student depending on where I'm picking them up.
Okay, well, Richard Say is going to be joining us in about an hour's time, so we can hear his side from it. And, David, have you ever had a learner driver, that has just been completely hopeless and has terrified you?
Once or twice.
I think it's a brave job that you lot do, because, I have complete patience for a learner driver. I will never beep or flash a learner driver. I always hold back a bit from them so they've got plenty of room, because, it strikes me as odd that people will get upset with learners, because, hey, we were all learners once, weren't we?
Exactly that. It's a case of being able to drive, but then building up that knowledge and that experience that we've all got built up over 20, 30 years. So you don't just do that overnight, unfortunately.
Dave Bailey from the Dave Bailey Driving School in Buckinghamshire, thank you very much. And as I said, Richard Stay, the councillor who's upset about the number of learner drivers in Caddington, will be with us in about an hour's time. But first up, it's the news with Catherine Boyle.
Wenger says it's a result which can have a positive impact on the side. You'll have to bear with me because the clip isn't there, but believe me, that's what he said. And that's the latest from BBC Three Counties News and Sport. More from me at 7.
We have to take your word for it, do we?
Well, I mean, yeah, I've heard it, so I'll play it you next time.
Don't bother.
Across beds, hearts and bucks, this is Iain Lee on BBC Three Counties Radio.
Good morning. As always, if you want to get in touch about any of the things that we're talking about on the show this morning, plenty of ways to do it. You can tweet us, either at Iain Lee or at BBC3CR. You can go on the Facebook page. If you go on the Facebook page, we put up all pictures of the guests and topics and things that we're talking about and questions. So just go to Facebook and find BBC Three Counties Radio. The best way to do it, of course, is to give us a call. 08459 455 555. Coming up in this half hour, Justin Dealey is at Langley Bury Mansion in Hertfordshire. And we have a spiritual healer from Bedfordshire who says that business is booming. Do alternative treatments work? We'll find out after this. 08459 455 555 is the telephone number if you want to give us a call. It is Halloween. We're talking about Halloween, the whole trick-or-treat thing. Do you find it a nuisance? Are you a little bit worried about what might be happening later on this evening? Are you going to be locking the doors, drawing the curtains and not opening the door at all? Or do you embrace it? Have you got a bag full of sweets and chocolates and all things like that, and you're just hoping that you get some kids knocking on the door? The thing I don't like about it is when you get sort of 15, 16, 17-year-olds. Trick-or-treaters should be sort of between 4 and, I'll give you 11. 4 and 11, they should have their mums at the end of your path, so they're watching there, so you open the door, the mum goes, hello, is that all right? Yeah, it's fine. They're 8 years old, of course it's fine. Oh, you're very spooky. Have a dip in there, oh, well done, you've got yourself a Twix. That's what it should be. You don't want 17-year-olds turning up with a bit of fake blood on their face, smoking a fag, going trick-or-treat. Don't want that. 08459 455 555. We'll talk about that a little bit more later on. Now, a spiritual healer has seen a rise in numbers during their 15 years of healing in Bedfordshire. Each week, over 25 people are going to the centre. Ray Wilson, the founder of Gentle Touch Healing in Rest Park, joins us now. Good morning, Ray.
Good morning.
Now, explain to me, what is spiritual healing?
We are basically channels. We channel energies through our hands to help people release blockages in their energy body, which helps the physical body to heal.
Now, I'm going to lay my cards on the table. When I was a younger gentleman, I was about 19 years old, I went on a spiritual healing course. I did it for a bit, and it involved me and some middle-aged women going to another woman's house and doing stuff with crystals and chakras and stuff like that. And I was really into it. And then I got a bit older and a bit more cynical, and I stopped believing in it. What evidence is there that this kind of spiritual stuff works?
There's no scientific evidence at all. There's been various studies done, but you can't prove it works. Other than public response, people come to healing because they benefit from healing.
Do you sometimes, obviously it gives a lot of comfort to people, and you would say that it works. Do you think that sometimes people come to see spiritual healers because perhaps they're a little bit desperate, and they've tried all other conventional avenues, and they're almost clutching at straws?
We get a lot of people who come to us who are very seriously ill, or people who have incurable illnesses. That's natural. You go to somewhere, you go to try and find help. But we don't take advantage of that. We do our best to help people.
And you, how much do you charge?
We're free.
You're free?
We're charity.
Wow, there you go. Okay, because there would be some people going, hang on a second, I can hear...
There's no catch. We're free healing. We have donations and gift aid.
Right.
Excuse me.
And you were explaining to me the difference between a spiritual healer and a faith healer.
Well, faith healer is someone who wants you to believe in their faith to be healed. We don't do that. We're not involved in any form of religion at all.
So faith healers are those guys you see on stage going, hear me now! And they do the pushing back and stuff. Yeah. You don't go in for any of those dramatics.
No, it's very gentle. Very gentle.
Does it work, honestly, Ray?
We do our best. I've been to do it for 22 years. I wanted to do it 22 years if it didn't help people.
Yeah. Without breaking any confidentialities, what kind of things have you seen work that prove it to you?
We can't go into details, but people have had some good response from it.
Okay.
And we're not alternative medicine. We're complementary. We work alongside doctors, and there are now healers now in hospitals and GP surgeries.
There are healers in hospitals.
Yes.
What hospitals are they in?
Well, in London was called. Very top hospital down the country, but
right.
It's quite a big one in London.
So in one room you could go in for an X-ray, in another room you go in for a little scan, and in another room there's a healer.
Yes.
Is that there? And what kind of things do people approach you for? What kind of conditions?
A whole range, from minor to major problems.
Okay. Now, you're going to do some healing on me, are you?
I'm doing best, but it's difficult on radio, but...
Well, of course it's difficult on radio. Listen, I shall paint the oral picture. Do you need to come round and...
I can do. First of all... Do you mind if I touch you at all? I have to ask permission.
Oh, you can touch me as much as you want.
We always ask permission. If people don't wish to be touched, we can work from a distance, no problem.
It's 7:15 in the morning. I'd be lucky to be touched this time of the day, Ray. Thank you, yes.
No, I have to ask.
Of course you do, thank you. Come round and do it. I shall try... Am I allowed to talk?
Yes, sure.
OK, that's good. That makes this thing a bit easier. So I'm sat here at the studio desk. This is being filmed, by the way. Ray's gently putting his hands on my shoulders. Very sensitive. You have cold hands, Ray? OK.
Time of day.
Well, it's a ridiculous time of the day to be trying to heal a middle-aged man. Can you feel anything?
I can't diagnose, and I can just give healing to you.
OK, it's just giving me healing, so I can feel Ray very gently, very tenderly, touching my shoulders, and he's giving me a little stroke. That's nice, and he's taken one hand off, and he's doing something. This is being filmed, by the way, so if you want to have a look at this. It'll be up on the Facebook page, I would imagine, within an hour or so. So go to facebook.com, find the BBC Three Counties Radio, and you can watch Ray Wilson, the founder of Gentle Touch Healing, healing me. And now, Ray, should I be feeling anything?
It can vary. It depends on person to person. But
OK, I'm not feeling anything.
You have to feel things to be helped, you know.
OK. There's a little tapping of the shoulders. It's very relaxing, but as I say, I'm not feeling anything, but that's not necessarily part of it. If you've had this done to you, dear listener, could you give us a call? 08459 455 555. Or maybe you're a complete sceptic and you think it's a load of old bunkum. I'd be keen to hear from you there. And are you picking up anything, Ray? Not a diagnosis, but are you picking up, dirty chakras?
Well,
have I got a dirty chakra?
No, you haven't got dirty chakras, but...
Are my chakras all right?
I've not been down the chakras yet, but...
OK.
The chair's in the way, Marie, but...
OK, the chair's in the way.
I'm just going to go through your shoulder areas and just channel from there.
OK. This is BBC Three Counties Radio. First for news. Just in case you're wondering. I'm tensing up, but I think that's maybe... Oh, you're right, you found something there in my shoulder, have you?
It's the area I need to work on.
Okay, there's a little bit of rubbing, a little bit of shaking going on with the shoulder. It's all very gentle. If nothing else, it's very nice and relaxing having a gentleman touching my shoulders at 6:45 in the morning. It's been a long time since that happened. I tell you that. He's working his way down a little bit now. It's feeling good. You do have freezing cold hands.
It's very rare. I'm normally very hot hands.
Really?
It's time of day, actually.
Okay. And so how many people do you see a day, Ray, to come into the centre?
It varies. We get about 25 a week now, but with Rest Park, we've got 4 times the many people come as before.
And is it just you that does the healing there, or do you have a team?
A team of healers there.
Do they specialise in different things? Like you'll get an optician or a dentist or, a heart specialist. Do you have specialists?
Some healers are better on certain illnesses than others.
Okay.
But most of us, we do all sorts of problems.
Okay, Ray, listen, we're running out of time. I'm going to ask you to finish me off.
Okay.
And then sit down, if you don't mind, sir. Okay, right. Did you feel anything? Am I okay? Is there anything? What did you get from me there?
No, there's some tension in the shoulders, which
right.
Probably because your work here.
Yeah, it's very tense here.
Yeah.
You see who I have to work with. This lot, for goodness sakes, is an awful mess. And very quickly, when you do the healing, do you get any of the bad vibes? Do you absorb them, or do they go out into the cosmos?
I often get.
I asked that as though it was a real question. Do they?
I often get sparks, and I often get electric shocks from people.
Wow.
Which often is quite painful, but to me, not the person, because it's when a blockage has been released.
Okay, listen, Ray, thank you so much for coming in. I appreciate it. I'm still sceptical, but I appreciate you coming in. Give us a quick plug. Whereabouts can people find you?
Well, this Sunday we've got an open day at Rest Park Enterprise Centre, from 11 to 5 o'clock. It's free healing all day. Plus, we've got a team of holistic therapists there and giving free advice and tasters there all day from 11 to 5.
The old holistic therapist.
And otherwise, we open all week. We open from Monday to Friday by appointment.
Ray, listen, thank you so much for coming in. Is there a website that people can go to?
Yeah, gentletouch.co.uk.
Excellent stuff. They can find that gentletouch.co.uk. That's Ray Wilson, the founder of Gentle Touch Healing in Rest Park. Thank you very much. So we can ask this morning, alternative treatments, do they work? Do you believe in them? Are you convinced by them? 08459 455 555. Or maybe you think it's a load of old tosh. Complete and utter nonsense. Do give us a call and let us know. It's interesting, isn't it, what's considered to be an alternative therapy. Now, the healing there, Ray was a lovely gentleman. I don't believe in any of it, if I'm completely honest. I wasn't going to be rude to him when he came in. That's not my style. But I don't believe in it. But it felt nice, him touching my shoulders. And he did say afterwards, you should get some healing for your back. Now, I'm always moaning about my back. Maybe he heard me say it on air, I don't know. Or maybe he just picked up the painful vibe of my lower back. But I go and see an osteopath regularly. And my father-in-law, who is a cardiologist, like a proper doctor, every time I mention the osteopath, he kind of sneers. I said, Peter, why? What's your reason? It's alternative nonsense. There's no proof it works. Now, to me, osteopathy, that's a science, because it works. They have, plastic models of spines in their room and pictures and everything. So there's nothing alternative about osteopathy to me. And the same, I'd imagine, for a chiropractor. What do you think about alternative therapies? OK, let me put my cards on the table. The ones I think don't work, Chinese medicine. Oh, the Chinese, I've done that. You go to that shop in the high street, they give you a load of bark, you boil it up and you drink a cup of tea that tastes like licorice. No, nonsense. Homeopathy? Oh, come on. It's like 0.00001% arnica in a little tablet. No, really. The healing and the chakras? I don't believe in that. Actually, it's most of them I don't believe in. It turns out... Am I being a little bit harsh? Am I being a little bit closed-minded on this? Do give me a call and let me know. If you swear by alternative therapies, or you think it's a load of old tosh, 08459 455 555. Really keen to hear your views on this morning. Later on in the show, we're going to talk about age gap relationships, because it's all over the front pages. Ronnie Wood, who's 65, he looks a lot older, is getting married again to his girlfriend, who's 34. So that's 31 years. That's quite a big age gap. We're trying to... This brings up two questions. Do age gap relationships work? Can they work? My wife is 5 years younger than me. And that's about as far as I could go. A, because I would feel uncomfortable. And B, because even at that 5-year gap, our popular cultural references are completely out of sync. She doesn't remember any of the shows that I grew up with at all. So do age gap relationships work? And what's the biggest age gap relationship we can find with you? Is there someone out there listening who's got a huge age gap? Gerard White on Facebook. My wife is 28 years younger than me. We've been happily together for over 11 years. It does work. Can we find a bigger age gap than 28 years? That's where we're starting from. Is there anything bigger than that? 08459 455 555. A lot for you to get involved with this morning. A lot. 08459 455 555. Now, today, it's Halloween. Lots of spooky things going across beds, hearts and bucks. Langleybury Mansion in Hertfordshire has been open to the public for the very first time for Halloween. It's being renamed the Mansion of Screams. Justin Dealey's there. Morning, Justin.
Hello, Ian.
Before we go into this, can I ask you a question?
Of course you can.
Do you believe in ghosts?
Yes, I do.
Really?
100%. No, honestly, I do.
Have you seen Ghoulies?
I haven't seen Ghoulies, but certainly lots of unusual things have happened, but I've never actually seen a ghost. Lots of things have gone missing.
Because you're quite sensible, and you get very angry about people who aren't sensible, and yet you believe in ghosts.
Yeah, what, and you don't?
I'd love to. I would love to, but no, I don't.
Well, there might be proof before 9 o'clock this morning.
Wow.
As you say, I'm at Langleybury Mansion in Hertfordshire. This building, Ian, it dates back to 1725. It's been empty since the 1990s. It's a creepy-looking place. We're taking some photographs for the Facebook page. It is just off the A41 between Watford and Hemel. Mark Foote, welcome to the programme. Mark is from Scare Nation. Mark, tell us what's going to be happening in this house this evening.
Well, tonight we'll be opening back up for the Mansion of Screams, which is a huge scare attraction. We have 5 different haunts inside the house. People will follow you, terrorise you. You'll see things. We have a lot of special effects and scenery here that brings the house back to life, what it would have been like all those years ago. We have a lot of scare actors on the top floor and the middle floor. We also have the Curse, which is kind of a paranormal activity room where the truth behind the house of the horrors that happened will be revealed.
It sounds terrifying. Now, since we confirmed our visit yesterday, we know that ghosts don't like the media. Lots of weird things have been happening. Tell us what's been happening here.
There's definitely a fact that the ghosts definitely don't like the media, because after we did confirm that you were coming, many strange things have happened in this house.
Such as?
Well, last night all the lighting kept changing its own pattern. It's all pre-programmed, but it decided to change its own pattern. In the cellars, we have all the compressors that control all our pneumatics, which is our special effects, like air cannons and explosions that go off. And somehow the compressors managed to actually turn themselves off. And we actually had to physically go down there to restart them. And there's no possible way anybody can get into the cellar, because it's only one way in, one way out, and only our technicians have the keys.
Goodness me. So this is the first time it's been open to the public in the history. It used to be flats, it used to be a school. It's been empty since, the 1990s. I presume it's been a paperwork nightmare for you to get this place open and get this place passed.
Well, that's right. Normally it's only used for TV and film sets from the mansion, but we decided to take this place because you can't get a better place than a haunted mansion. But the paperwork to be able to get public into this mansion, the procedures that we have to go through and the formula we have to get for people to actually be able to go through this mansion and make it safe is a mountain of paperwork.
I can imagine. Ian, just lastly, I'm going to bring another Ian into the conversation here, because this Ian, who was with me in the radio car, you were born here in this mansion when it was flat. We have been told not to go into the cellar. You're going to be taking me down to the cellar later on. Should I be worried?
Well, you should be really. Well, I'd take you. I'm not actually going to go in with you.
Well, hang on a second.
I've been before, and to be honest, wearing a scarf like that, your height, and you're going to be in all kinds of trouble. They'll see you coming.
So there's definitely ghosts here. That's what you're saying this morning?
Absolutely, without a doubt, yes.
Okay, just lastly, quite briefly, what's the most terrifying thing that's happened to you in that house?
Well, I think that involves my father, to be honest. He used to send me down to the cellar and lock me in there if I did something wrong.
Really?
Oh, yes. So
a lovely father.
Yes, indeed, yes. So it's quite scary down there. Used to leave me down there for hours.
Lock Justin down there.
No, he won't be doing that.
Lock him in there. He's been naughty.
He won't be doing that. So later on, Ian, when you come back to me, just before 8 o'clock this morning, we are going to be going down to the cellar here. It is an incredible place. And what makes it even more creepy, you've got this huge mansion house here, which has just been opened. And next door as well, there's the old Langleybury School. Now, that closed back in 1998. That was owned by the council. It was council offices for quite some time. But as you drive down this pathway here, it is just creepy. This huge house, this huge school, and they are just derelicts. But quite some history. Adele's video, Rolling in the Deep, that was filmed here.
Ooh,
Great expectations.
Spooky enough as it is.
All sorts of things. So come back to me later on, and we're going to be checking out the cellar live on Three Counties Radio.
Fantastic. I look forward to it, Justin. Thank you very much indeed. Lock him down in the cellar. Lock him in the cellar. 08459 455 555. Later on in the show, you'll hear when I went to a haunted house in Dunstable. Did anything spooky happen? Well, find out. Very quickly, we've been talking about alternative therapies and medicines and treatments and healing and things like that. Do you believe in it? I don't. I think it's a load of old tosh. But Helen in Milton Keynes has texted in, 81333, starting the text 3CR. Royal family use homeopathy and they live long, healthy lives. But that could be due to the fact they don't have to sit on the bus with someone spreading their germs around. It could be also due to the fact, Helen, that they also have access to some of the best doctors in the world. When Prince Philip gets ill, doesn't use homeopathy, he goes to the hospital. Robert Fennick, on Twitter, he's taken offence at my question. I've tweeted, and bear in mind I'm limited by the things I can tweet. A, because I'm trying to do a blooming radio show, and B, by the 140 characters. I've tweeted, alternative therapies, good or total bunkum, something along those lines. Robert's taken offence at my my tweets. This is it. Hang on. Alternative therapy is great or total bunkum? Give me a call now. Robert is upset by this. False dichotomies. Useful radio format or formulaic nonsense. Tweet me now. Oh dear, Robert. Come on, it's 7 o'clock in the morning. I'm doing my best. Good morning, this is Iain Lee, BBC Three Counties Radio. Lots coming up in this hour of the show. Lots I want your input on. Halloween, alternative therapies, learner drivers, loads of stuff. Here are some of the things. See if any of this grabs you. More police patrols for Halloween. I'm going to speak to a Newport Pagnell man to find out why he threw eggs and flour when he was younger. We'll have the latest on the effects of Storm Sandy and age gap relationships. Ronnie Wood is marrying his girlfriend who's 31 years younger than him. Can they ever work, and can we find the biggest age gap relationship for any of our listeners to BBC Three Counties?
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Now, you might be worried about trick-or-treaters tonight, and if you are, can you give us a call? 08459 455 555. Well, the police have told us they'll be stepping up patrols across the three counties. Thames Valley Police, which covers Milton Keynes and Buckinghamshire, say last Halloween, they recorded the highest level of crime compared with any other day of the year. Tonight, officers will be targeting areas where there have been problems before. Last night, our reporter, Jessica Cooper, went out on patrol with PC Jason Rowe from the community policing team in Milton Keynes.
We've had a job come in, which is quite a worrying one. Report from Swanage Air Traffic Control of someone shining laser lights at aircraft that are flying by. Lasers can blind pilots and it's very dangerous. So we're going to go to the area of the Milton Keynes Don Stadium, which is where it's been zeroed in on from the aircraft. Someone in this area has been shining a laser light at aircraft, passing aircraft. Have you seen anything suspicious? Anyone around at all? If you do see anything, give us a call on 101. Obviously, if we get more calls, we may be able to narrow it down, but as you can see, the area is huge and there's a lot of people here, so we'll just see what we can turn up.
Right, so it's probably been about 20 minutes. We've called off the search for the youth with the laser pen. We're now patrolling down a street, and you've particularly come to this area because a member of the public asked you to.
Earlier on today, a lady came into the police station asking for some of our no trick-or-treat posters. She particularly wanted them to stop trick-or-treaters coming to her house, and because last year her house was targeted, She had eggs and other items thrown at her house, and unfortunately the items that were thrown did break a window.
How busy is Halloween for you in comparison to the rest of the year?
Halloween last year was the busiest day of the year, which, if you consider New Year's Eve and other busy periods, will give you an indication of how busy it does get. In Milton Keynes, we saw an increase in your damage type offences, both to dwellings and to vehicles as well, vehicles that were parked on drives. We had a lot of those reported in. Also theft from vehicles. Yeah, go ahead. It's almost become a common trick from the trick-or-treat Halloween style, where if people want to play a prank on someone, they've decided to throw eggs and flour, and we're looking to try and stop that happening, speaking to local shops and making them aware of, just who they sell eggs and flour to on Halloween. Why eggs? What is it about eggs and flour?
Because, people go egging, because they think they're big and it's a crack, it's a laugh, and they like the little thrill of getting chased and everything, but they haven't got the heart to actually break someone's window and chuck a stone through it. I did it a couple of years ago. Yeah. And it's so childish, and I got caught once and it scared me. So
do you think it's the norm that people are sort of accepting that egging is the thing to do on trick or treat?
Yeah, I think most kids think that's the norm to do. They love it.
When you did it a couple of years ago, why did you want to do that in the first place?
No, I just did it because everyone else is doing it. I didn't really chuck it. I might have chucked one or two, but I was just me and my girls, we were doing it, but the boys do it, and we were just running, and everyone's run, run. It's like that adrenaline rush. Kids, they love that, do you know what I mean?
So why wouldn't you do it now then? What's changed?
When you grow up, you realise, what if my nan got egged? I would be so annoyed. She can't go out there and clean it all up. That's out of order, do you know what I mean? That means I've got to go around there and clean it up for her.
Yeah, I didn't really do it. I did one or two. Well, so you did do it. Well, Liam Snoosh is 27. He's from Newport Pagnell. He used to throw eggs and flour on Halloween when he was a teenager. Morning, Liam.
How you doing, right?
Yeah, I'm all right, thank you. So you used to do this when you were a kid. How old were you?
Probably about 14, I think.
And why did you do it, Liam?
I don't really know, to be honest. It was just one of those things. It's Halloween. Everyone was there, so tonight we're going to go egging. And it wasn't it's not exactly... we didn't really target people's houses. It was other friends from school, really, that would all kind of chase each other around Newport and egg each other and flour each other.
Oh, I've just remembered I used to do this when I was a kid. It's just on me. We did it at friends. We never did it at houses. I think on the last day of term was when we did it. It wasn't a Halloween thing, but it does make a mess, doesn't it, Liam?
Yeah, it does. I mean, obviously, when you're running down the street chucking eggs at each other, you are going to be hitting people's cars as well, because you're not exactly got to have perfect aim.
Was that part of the fun, knowing that you made a bit of a mess and that you not damaged, but that you covered people's cars in eggs and flour?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah. Would you still do it now, 13, 14 years later?
No, I wouldn't. Because obviously, now, having my own house, my own car, it's a bit if anyone egged my car or my house, I'd be pretty annoyed and... yeah, I wouldn't exactly be too happy about it.
Exactly. Imagine if you woke up in the morning and your house was covered in eggs and flour, or your car is all eggs on the windscreen. So how would you feel?
I'd be pretty angry.
Yeah. What would you say to anybody who's going to go out tonight and do it?
Just actually have a think about what you're really doing. It's not really... It may be for that first initial 10 minutes quite a thrill, but at the end of the day, think about if someone done it to your property, you wouldn't exactly be happy about it. So,
Liam, listen, thank you very much. Liam is Snoosh used to go again. Yeah, I remember we did it on the last day of term at school. I know. Oh, it was a tradition. We'd all write on each other's shirts and then egg and flour each other. But we didn't do it. It wasn't on cars. Let me just say this now. It wasn't on cars. It certainly wasn't on people's houses. I think it was in the school playground until we got booted out by the deputy headmaster. Are you looking forward to Halloween tonight? Do you think it's one of the great American imports and you love it and you've got a big bag full of sweets and they're by the door and you're ready for the kids to come trick-or-treating? Or are you a little bit in fear about it? Make you a little bit nervous? 08459 455 555. Let me know. Keen to get your thoughts either way. Now, the big story yesterday, of course, was the a hurricane, stroke storm, stroke tornado that was going to be sweeping across the east coast of America. Well, today, President Obama will see firsthand the damage caused by one of the most ferocious storms ever to strike the east coast. The number of people killed now stands at more than 40. Nearly 2 million still don't have power in New York. And across several states, tens of thousands spent a second night in school gymnasiums, community centres and hotel rooms. Well, yesterday we spoke to Lee Harris from 1010 WINS Radio in New York, a rolling news station in the city. We can catch up with Lee now. Morning, Lee.
Good morning. It's a little better this morning.
How are things out there? What's it like? We've seen the pictures of the damage. What's the weather like now?
There's a tiny little bit of rain this morning and a tiny little bit of wind, but nothing like we had, obviously, at the height of the storm or in the immediate aftermath.
Have you been out to have a little look around the local area?
I just drove into work just now, and in the upper part of Manhattan from which I came, things were relatively normal, and I'd say as busy as they would be normally at 3 o'clock in the morning, New York time. But once you got into the zone where the lights are out, everything changed. A lot more police presence than the night before, and a few more brave souls, but still a very eerie sight below about 38th Street in Manhattan, heading down toward the bottom of the island.
Whenever anything like this happens in a movie in New York, there's always the first thing that happens is lots of looting. Now, obviously, those are movies. Has there been anything like that? Any kind of reports of trouble because of the blackout?
A very tiny bit of that in the Rockaways, allegedly planned on Twitter, ironically.
Oh, really?
But actually on the streets of the city yesterday, there were people wandering around. Many of them had nothing to do. They didn't have jobs to go to or ways of getting to other parts of the city. But I found people, by and large, to be, I wouldn't call it necessarily in a holiday mood, but sort of cheery, making do with what they had and being... up to the task.
Lee,
people seem to be in a good mood.
When we spoke to you about 24 hours ago, the radio station had been affected, the power was out and you were on the backup generator. Has that been sorted now? Is everything back to normal?
No, we're still running on backup power, so the lights are a bit dim. We did get our AM transmitter back, our main one, but only at 20% of normal power. So we're still being heard on FM as well for now. So things are far from normal here. But walking into the newsroom, I didn't see anybody sleeping on the floor, and we were back to somewhat normal staffing levels. So today would normally qualify as a full-out disaster on any other day, but right now it's a bit of an improvement. We'll have some bus service this morning, although still no subways. The stock exchange will open up this morning, at least. The international airports, JFK and Newark, are supposed to open at 7 a.m., so semblances of normality this morning.
It's interesting, isn't it, Lee, because America is viewed by some as, being the most powerful country in the world, whether that's right or wrong, and New York is such a modern, thrusting city, but even, when there's a storm like this, when Mother Nature wants to, she can kick us all into shape, can't she?
You certainly can. I mean, one would tend to think that if it had hit, let's say, Mogadishu, that things would have been slightly worse than they were here, but we're not beyond, being damaged by a storm of this magnitude.
Lee, listen, I'm coming to New York to see the Monkees at the end of the month. I'm popping in and I'm going to buy your coffee at some point, sir.
All right, I'd appreciate that. They might be one monkey short when you get here, but we'll see what we can do.
I'm always happy to fill in for the English guy. Lee, thank you very much indeed. Lee Harris from 1010 WINS Radio in New York. Ah, dear. It's amazing, isn't it, what can happen with a bit of weather. Thank you, Lee. So, Halloween... fun or a pain in the backside? I'm looking forward to it. My producer just said she hasn't got any pumpkins. I did my first pumpkin 3 years ago, before we even had kids. Oh, it turns out it's really easy to get something that's half decent, and it's fun. I mean, it's messy. You've got to scoop out all the innards. That bit isn't fun. But it is good. We've got a pumpkin on our doorstep, and my little boy helped me this year. Helped me. Yeah, I did it, but he felt like he was helping me. It's a lot of fun. I enjoy that aspect of it. I kind of enjoy the kids trick-or-treating. If they're between sort of 5 and 11, and their mums are there at the end of the path going, is it all right if we... OK, good. I like that. 16-year-old kids knocking on my door with a fag on, no, that's not appropriate. What do you think? Are you a fan of Halloween? Do you look forward to it? Have you got a bag of sweeties ready by the front door tonight, or are you one of those people that's just like, oh God? Actually, you could be a little bit terrified by it. You're worried what's going to happen. Do give me a call and let me know. 08459 455 555. What do you think about it? Is it a bit of fun? Or is it a horrible American import that actually makes people a little bit uncomfortable in their own homes? 08459 455 555. Now, I don't know if you remember, but Veronica from Dunstable called up last month, and she told me that ghosts live in her house, if that's not too much of a contradiction. Later on, you'll hear what happened when I went to Veronica's with paranormal investigators Steph and Bill. In fact, why don't I tease you now? Here's a little bit of what happened when I went to her house.
It's been happening pretty much since we moved in about 26 years ago. They don't frighten us at all. They're very friendly. They don't do anything nasty. They're a bit mischievous. They move things around. That's it.
I've walked in. This is obviously a freezing cold room. Bill, you're disputing this.
Well, I've just checked the temperature in here, and it's around about 15, 16 degrees. And I checked the temperature of the room we walked out of, and they're almost exactly the same within less than half a degree.
Bill's starting to... He's scaring me a little bit.
Is he? If there's any spirit people in this room with us or in this house, please can you come to us? We're here with the greatest respect for you. We'd just like to know that you're here. If you could make a noise for us so we can hear you, please try and do anything you can to let us know that you're around us.
Well, did we hear a noise? Did the spirits get in touch and let us know they were there? Find out in the next hour. Find out in the next hour. 08459 455 555. Learner drivers in Caddington need to be moved on to stop traffic congestion. That's according to the local councillor. Richard Stay has written on his blog that people are puzzled as to why so many learner drivers use the village roads. He says there are often queues of learner drivers doing three-point turns on estate roads. Our reporter, Victoria Cook, went to speak to the people of Caddington and asked them how busy it gets with learners.
It can get very busy here and Slip End, and in the mornings they're a nightmare. Like I say, more so Slip End, because they're just everywhere over there, and they just slow everybody down, like, you know. Basically, I think they should go on an industrial estate out the way. That's where they should be learning to drive until they can drive properly and keep in flow with the traffic.
So you're a learner driver. Tell me what it's like while you're learning to drive on roads around here.
People get up the back here pretty close and that. It's like they've got no time for learners.
Do you think it gets busy around the Caddington area with learner drivers?
It does, yeah. We get a load of them around here, yeah.
The only place I've seen learner drivers is around Elm Avenue, and they always use that Ledwell Road and the next close to practice reversing. No, I haven't seen any learner driver causing a problem around here.
I can't say it. They've all got to learn. They do drive me mad, but then I think about my daughters who will be doing it soon, and I try to get a bit more patience.
But they've got to learn somewhere, I suppose, but there must be better places than around a little village like this with one bad road, or two bad roads, perhaps, for that one.
And it has an impact on the whole village?
Well, it does, yeah. Especially around the side streets, people, you drive around the corner and someone's coming backwards at you, It's a bit off-putting.
Victoria Cook talking to the people of Caddington. Well, Councillor Richard Stay joins us now. Good morning, Councillor.
Good morning.
What's the problem with people learning to drive on the roads in Caddington?
Well, there isn't a problem per se. I think it's the quantity of drivers that we've got, and I think your report demonstrates quite amply. It's not just me that's saying that we've kind of got too many. Everyone's got to learn to drive. Absolutely accept that. Learners have got to learn to drive somewhere, but we do appear to be a bit like a honeypot for bees, and I do think we need to damp down just the sheer number of learners that are clocking up local estate roads.
Do we know if these are residents of Caddington that are learning to drive, or is it people from outside Caddington that are coming in as part of their learning route?
Well, I've represented Caddington for, I think, about 16 years, and I'd be very surprised if there were that many 17, 18-year-olds in Caddington and Slip End. I think it's fairly clear the vast majority of these are learners that are coming in from adjacent towns.
What would you like to see done, Councillor?
Well, I think, the Driving Standards Agency had a look at varying their routes a little, but I think my key message would be to driving instructors, please vary your the routes that you take your students on. I don't think it's anything more complicated than that. there's not a lot we can do formally about it, other than just point out that it is causing us a problem.
Have you spoken to the DSA or driving instructors?
No, I haven't, and I'm sure that they will all be listening to your programme this morning. So I'm sure
we are, Richard. We are very popular with driving instructors. They're top of our demographic at the moment. But listen, people have to learn to drive. We've all learned. We were all learners at some point. Richard, haven't you got any sympathy for them?
I've got back to sympathy, but please learn to drive a little more considerately. I mean, you know, it is getting to a point where in the areas that your reporter visited yesterday, we have a school which is already congested. We have a huge number of residents in that area who are already upset by the number of cars that are coming in to take their children to school. So it isn't just that one issue, but it is exacerbating an already overcrowded traffic situation, particularly in Caddington, but I would also include Slip End in that. So simple message. Please vary your routes.
Councillor Richard Stay, thank you very much indeed. Well, what do you think? If you live in Caddington, I know we're speaking to a smaller audience, but did you have a problem with it? People have to learn to drive somewhere, don't they? But I suppose you don't want the roads busy all the time. 08459 455 555. Now, it is Halloween. Is it fun or frightening? Do you enjoy it, or do you just think, oh, God, it's another night of keeping the lights off, hiding away, going to bed early, locking the doors, and hoping that someone doesn't chuck an egg at my window? 08459 455 555. Barbara!
Good morning.
Good morning, Barbara. How are you this morning?
Oh, I'm getting ready for tonight.
Oh, are you a fan of the Halloween?
Well, I have a bit of fun with the children, yes. I dress up as a witch and sometimes sit on a doorstep. They come up in front of the living daylights out of them.
Oh, blimey. I don't think you're supposed to scare the kids, Barbara. They're supposed to scare you.
Well, no, it's much more fun if I do it.
So you're a big fan of it? You're going to get dressed up and embrace it,
Oh,
are you?
yes.
Oh, okay.
I've got something for the older ones tonight. There was a man down in Stevenage town centre the other day giving away little tiny tubes of toothpaste. I've wrapped them all up as sweets when they come.
What? You're going to give... You got the witch's cackle there. You're going to give kids little tubes of toothpaste?
Only the bigger ones if they ask for more sweets.
You're asking for trouble, Barbara.
No, I can get away with that.
Blimey. Now, you call yourself... What's the title you've given yourself?
Oh, I think Witchy Witch. Just for tonight.
Witchy Witch, just for tonight. Barbara, can I ask you a personal question?
Go on, then.
Are you completely bonkers?
Absolutely stark raving mad,
I thought so. I picked that up quite early on in this conversation. I got that quite... Hang on a second. That was... let's be honest, that was some kind of...
a good cackle, that, isn't it?
Give us the cackle again. I just, hang on a second. Let me just do something here. I'm going to do, let's see if we can get a little bit of an effect on that. Right, give us that again. Absolutely terrifying. So when the trick-or-treaters come, have you got any sweeties for the younger ones?
Oh, yeah, I've got sweets for the younger ones. As I say, it's only if the older ones come and start being a pest.
Yeah.
I've wrapped the toothpaste. I've wrapped the toothpaste up in gold foil, so they don't know it's toothpaste.
You're literally asking them to chuck eggs and flour at your house.
Actually, no. It's what if you tell them to go away. You know, I don't want you here. Go away.
Yeah.
Then they're more likely to flower you.
Right.
If you embrace them and have a bit of fun with them, you know, then they come enjoy it.
Listen, there's a tip here, because I'm going to get some sweeties and bits and pieces for the kids tonight. We've got our pumpkin out. I'm going to put a little candle in it. What's popular with the kids these days? What's the best thing to be giving them?
Chewy sweets.
Chewy sweets.
And also, if you buy some marshmallows, they're quite nice. Particularly if you put them in the bag loose. And you put the hand in it.
Ooh, loose marshmallows, Barbara, you're getting me excited. Yeah. And have you ever had any trouble?
Nah.
No.
Nah. As I say, if you tell them to go away and get, you know, narky with them, then they get narky with you. But if you have a bit of fun with them, you know, chase them down the street or something like that, you know.
Don't, did you just say chase them down the street? You can't do that.
Well, I can if I'm a witch, can't I?
Barbara, listen, thank you very much for calling. Lovely to talk to you.
Bye.
Take care, bye-bye. That's Barbara. She's the witch of Stevenage. Completely bonkers. The older kids, you're going to get toothpaste. Imagine how gutted you'd be. Oh, yeah, we've got some stuff in, some gold... it's blooming toothpaste! Barbara, thank you very much. Are you like Barbara? Are you embracing it? Are you going to dress up for it? 08459 455 555.
Call 08459 455 555.
08459 455 555.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Lots that we need your input on this morning on BBC Three Counties, including Ronnie Wood from the Rolling Stones, yes, planning to marry his girlfriend, 31 years younger than him. Do age gap relationships work? And I made a controversial statement. Well, I didn't realise it was controversial, and I said it in the office, and everyone went, "Oh, no, don't be so stupid." And I said that age gap relationships are more acceptable if the woman is older than the man. So if it's an older woman with a toy boy, and everyone went, "Oh, don't be so stupid. It's the other way around. If it's an older man and a younger woman." Is that right? I suppose maybe you see more older men and younger women. I'm always a little bit suspicious, though. What do you think? Can they ever work, age gap relationships? 08459 455 555. And can we find the biggest age gap from listeners to Three Counties? We've had someone who's 28 years. He was 28 years older than his wife. They've been together 11 years. My wife's half Greek, as I probably mentioned it every single day. And in Greece, there's always a huge age gap between the men and the women. It's always a rich old man and a younger girl. Really common. 08459 455 555. I should just mention, in an hour and a half, Jonathan Vernon-Smith comes in and does his show. I love Jonathan's show. I'm going shooting with him tomorrow. I know, we got guns and everything, which will be exciting. But one of the reasons I love Jonathan's show, I'm going to play a clip from a couple of days ago. This is Jonathan, right, talking to a listener and trying to get his head around American wrestling.
So he's Raw when they kind of just grab one another, whereas SmackDown is when they fling them over the back and all that.
No, it's all the same.
Oh, what's the difference then?
It's different type of wrestlers.
Oh, I see. So, you might get the big ones, they do the Raw, and then the little ones do...
That's the case, I'm going to go Raw.
Yeah, later on in that show, he started calling it Slapdown. Oh, I love it. He'll be on at 9 o'clock. I've got no idea what he's talking about. Can we persuade him to do a wrestling special one day? I know he's in the building, arguing with his team, trying to whip them into shape. Do a wrestling special for an hour. That would just be golden radio. We've been talking about driving lessons after the counsellor in Caddington was very upset that Caddington seems to be on the route for a lot of driving instructors, and he doesn't want them there. Pat is from Houghton Regis. Good morning, Pat.
Good morning, Ian.
You are a driving instructor, I believe.
I am, yes.
What do you feel about what the counsellor was saying?
Well, the driving instructors out there actually are aware of vehicles around them, and if they're in Caddington, they can be in any area whatsoever that's nearer to where they're teaching or where the person lives. They will stop until that person passes safely, or if they can't pass safely, they will continue with the manoeuvre providing the other vehicle stopped, and then make way for that person. That's what we teach them, to be courteous on the road.
So the driving instructors are of course they must be, they're constantly aware of all the vehicles around them, and if they feel that they're causing perhaps a problem or something, they'll pull over, let the traffic clear, and then come back.
They will move out the way if they need to, but if they're on a major road doing the speed limit, that's fine. You know, you've got to do the speed limit. They're not causing any problems at all. I mean, what Councillor Stave's got to remember is if someone bibs a learner driver while you're trying to teach them, that learner driver could lose a lot of confidence and go backwards. And they're only trying to concentrate on the road in the initial stages, but the awareness comes through experience, and that's what we teach them.
I don't think the councillor is in any way suggesting that people kind of hassle the learner drivers or anything like that, but do you think he's got a point, though, Pat, that these small places like Caddington, they don't want to be bothered with loads of learners all over the place? It causes problems.
Well, no, I think it depends where you're picking up your pupil. If you're picking up your pupil from around Caddington or nearby, and the only area to be safe to teach someone in their early stage driving is Caddington, you will go in that direction. I mean, there's also Ringwood in Luton. There's a lot of people around there. But what a lot of learners around there. But what I tend to do is try and stay away from those busier areas if I can. And I believe a lot of instructors do the same, but sometimes you can't. It's quite impossible. So, you know, we have traffic lights that stop traffic. We have delivery drivers that stop traffic up roads. I think what Richard Stay's got to be is more patient with the learner drivers rather than say move them on somewhere else because, it's annoying my electorates, if you like.
Do you find that most motorists are patient with learner drivers? Because I've certainly seen them being flashed and beeped and, overtaken quite aggressively.
Yeah, that's a small minority. Generally, drivers on the roads are very, very polite and okay with learner drivers. It's only the small minority, and they stand out from the crowd because they're making the most noise and trying to speed at the same time.
Pat, going off on a complete tangent, are you a fan of Halloween?
Well, I've got my sweets ready for tonight.
Oh, good for you. Well done. What have you got? What have you got?
Mars bars that I've been eating. My wife's telling me off.
Sorry? Well, you've been digging into the bag of sweets for the kiddies?
Yeah, I've got about 9 left, I think.
Oh, Pat, you can't do that. That's for the little kids.
I know. I've got to go and buy some more today.
Have you ever seen a ghost?
I have, yes.
Sorry, have you?
Yeah, I saw one last week, in actual fact.
Go on, what happened?
I was on holiday.
Are you setting me up for a joke here?
No,
Oh,
honestly,
okay.
I'm being honest with you. I was getting up in the middle of the night in this caravan that 6 adults were in, having a good time, and about 4 in the morning. I don't drink, by the way, so it wasn't a drink.
6 adults having a good time in a caravan. It sounds suspicious, but...
My sister-in-law, and my daughter and that. Right. And I was staring through from the hallway to the lounge area, the caravan, and there was this black figure of a person sitting down in the caravan itself, and I was trying to feel for the light and I couldn't get the light quickly enough on, and I kept staring at this figure, and it was a figure of a person. So I do believe in them.
So you were in a haunted caravan?
Ah, yes, that's right.
Wow. Pat fan, listen, there we go. He's ticking all the boxes. Thank you, Pat. If you've got any ghost stories, listen, I don't believe in ghosts. I would love to. If someone can give me the evidence, the man alive, I'm there. If you've seen a ghost, can you give us... I didn't know Pat was going to say that. Could you give us a call, please, and let me know? 08459 455 555. Well, today is Halloween, as you know. And on this day, the souls of the dead are supposed to revisit their homes. Earlier this month, I took a very interesting call from Veronica in Dunstable about the ghostly goings-on in her home.
So many things have sort of happened in the house. It's very, very strange. I mean, it doesn't bother us at all. My son and I have seen them.
Ooh, hang on a second. What?
Yeah, but it's really odd. You sort of... It's difficult to explain. I see them like, out of the corner of your eye. You sort of glance them, and then when you look, there's nothing there.
Yeah.
But we've seen quite a few. I have in my front room. It's not an old house. We don't know where they come from, but they have seem to have cocktail parties in my front room.
Hang on a minute, Veronica. I was going with you until that. You have loads of ghosts having cocktail parties in your front room?
Yeah.
Well, she sounded... The thing that got me about Veronica was she sounded so sensible and normal and was telling this amazing story. Well, I was intrigued. I was fascinated. I got in touch with Veronica after the show. I also got in touch with the Luton Paranormal Society and spoke to a couple of very lovely people there. And we all agreed to go to Veronica's house in Dunstable and see if we could find any ghosts. This is what happened. I am now in what is apparently a haunted house in Dunstable. It belongs to this young lady here. Veronica, you called up the show a few weeks ago, and you mentioned that there have been some spooky goings-on in your house. Is that correct?
That's right, yes. It's been happening pretty much since we moved in about 26 years ago. They don't frighten us at all. They're very friendly. They don't do anything nasty. They're a bit mischievous. They move things around. That's it.
I'm joined by Steph. Hello, Steph.
Hi.
Now, you are... Ghost hunter, is that the term you use? How would you describe yourself?
Well, we call ourselves paranormal investigators rather than ghost hunters.
You look normal. And I don't know what... your mate doesn't. I'll get on to Bill in a second. But I don't know what I was expecting. I'm kind of expecting something a bit mad and a bit crazy.
A bit Ghostbusters.
You look like a normal lady.
Good. We are normal people.
You're with Bill. Bill, you're part of this team as well.
I am, yes, indeed.
How long have you been investigating the paranormal?
Basically I've been interested in the paranormal all my life, and I joined the Luton Paranormal Society 1 year after they started, so 2004.
Are you feeling anything? Does this feels to me like a really nice house? Are you getting any kind of spooky vibes?
Not at the moment, no. You say it feels like a nice house. I'm just mentally sort of asking if there's anyone here, if they can do something for us while we're
here.
You're
doing that now in your head?
Yeah.
Is anyone coming back?
No, not at the moment, no.
What room are we in now, Veronica?
This is now the nursery. It used to be my daughter's bedroom.
OK. I've walked in. This is obviously a freezing cold room. Bill, you're disputing this.
Well, I've just checked the temperature in here, and it's around about 15, 16 degrees. And I checked the temperature of the room we walked out of, and they're almost exactly the same within less than half a degree.
Bill's starting to... He's scaring me a little bit.
Is he? He will do that. Yeah.
Okay.
So that, as we walked out there, this felt a lot colder to me. Yeah? As we just walked out of there, this was cold.
There's probably a draft.
Yeah. Yeah, this is probably a draft, Bill. Come on. So we're in what was the son's room. You can tell it was a boy's room. It's a mess. I keep seeing something out of the corner of my eye, but just like, I don't know what, but I'm in this room and I'm sort of turning my head going, oh, what was that? And there's nothing there.
If there's any spirit people in this room with us or in this house, please can you come to us? We're here with the greatest respect for you. We'd just like to know that you're here. If you could make a noise for us so we can hear you, please try and do anything you can to let us know that you're around us.
Nothing happened.
No.
It's not uncommon if you do just something very quickly like this that you may not necessarily get anything.
Some people might say it's because ghosts aren't real. OK, we've looked all around the house. We're back downstairs in the kitchen. Steph, what do you make of it?
It's been very interesting. It's been nice to hear Veronica's experiences. The house, there does feel like there's spiritual energy here.
Veronica, how are you feeling? You feel the ghosts might have let you down today?
Well, it would have been nice if they'd all had their party in the front room as they have done before, but at least Steph's sort of felt the odd thing, so I don't feel
And you're quite happy with these ghosts being here? They're quite nice housemates.
Yeah, quite happy with them, yeah.
So there we go. Thank you to Bill and Steph, who are fantastic. The Luton Paranormal Society. Do have a look at their website. They go out on little ghostly jaunts. I'm going to join them. I'm going to go out with them one night on a proper haunted house type thing. And Veronica, who was delightful, was a wonderful host and was very kind to let us traipse around her house, but not a lot happened, to be honest, which is a shame, because I would love to be convinced about ghosts. It would really make me... But I just haven't got the evidence. If you've seen ghostly goings on, 08459 455 555 is the phone number. Talking about Halloween as well. Do you like it? Are you a fan of it, or do you think it's nonsense? Shirley has texted in 81333, starting her text 3CR. I don't like Halloween. It's begging. And I can't afford to buy sweets to buy for other people's children. I do have a police notice on my door. I don't think it's begging, really. It's little 8-year-old kids. When it's 8-year-old kids, and they've dressed up as a vampire or a mummy or something like that, and they're knocking on the door and they want a bag of magic stars, that's not... Is that begging, really? Dave in Luton says, if Halloween night is causing more crime, the government should ban it all. Oh, Dave, come on. I was stifling a cough. That was why there was a little bit of hesitation there. Ronnie Wood, the Rolling Stone, is set to marry his girlfriend, who is 31 years younger than him. 31. He's 65. I've been asking this morning, can age gap relationships ever work? Leela Collins is a counsellor psychologist and specialises in relationships. Good morning, Leela.
Good morning.
Does a big age gap matter?
Well, it does and it doesn't matter. If you remember, in ancient times, the man was always supposed to be a bit older, and they looked down upon. They didn't think any more about it.
Yeah.
In fact, it was supposed to be that the men who are better settled and financially able can look after the family better. Therefore, it leaves women freer. From that point of view, it's good. But if there is an enormous age gap, there is the possibility that a man will possibly die long before.
God, yeah.
And the woman is left a single parent. But if they are well off and they can provide for the family, that's maybe okay.
The thing is, Leela, you won't have anything in common. Ronnie Wood, for example, is 65. His fiance's 34. They won't have anything in common. They won't have watched the same programmes growing up. They won't have the same cultural references. What will they talk about?
That's right. I mean, if Ronnie Wood talks about older musicians or older films, the young woman, who's that? What are you talking about? You know, it could have that difficulty, and our needs change as we get older. They're not the same, but if the couple love each other and it is for love they get married, that's fine. But if it's for financial support and finances are in question, then I wonder about it.
And I'm sure. Listen, I'm sure they're very happy, and I'm sure they're completely in love.
I'm sure, yes.
But can it last, really?
Well, from what we've seen of celebrities, it may not last. You know, and the thing is, if you're young and you're struggling together to bring up a family is one thing, but if you marry someone much older and is well settled, then you don't have the struggle of youth and mortgages and whatnot, and childcare. But the question that always comes to my mind is this. If this older man, much older man, had a menial job, gardener, security man, I don't know, or indeed unemployed, would that attraction be there?
It's that famous the Mrs. Merton quote, isn't it, to Paul Daniels' wife? What first attracted you to multimillionaire Paul Daniels? It's that thing. It does, you know. Obviously, I wish them the very best of luck, and I hope it works. But is it more acceptable? Is Leela? Is it more acceptable for it to be an older man and a younger woman than the other way around?
Indeed, of course it is. Yes, seldom. It happens, but very seldom do you see the other way around. Prosperous women marrying a young man. Somehow socially it's acceptable for older men to marry much younger women, but not the other way around.
Leela, listen, thank you. We have to move on. Thank you very much, Leela Collins, counsellor psychologist. What do you think? Can we find the oldest age gap for people listening to this show, please? We've got 28 years so far. And do they ever work? Big age gap relationships. 08459 455 555 is the telephone number if you want to give us a call. Very excitingly, the Jonathan Vernon Smith team, and I use that word with a very small t, have buzzed down to say that after 9, Jonathan's going to be talking about age gap relationships. The big phone in from 9, he'll be asking, do age gap relationships always end in tears? If you want to get in touch with him now, don't phone up now for Jonathan. We've got a little while to go. You can email if you fancy having a chat, and they might call you back. 3cr@bbc.co.uk, and that's also the email to get in touch with this show when we're on air or when we're off air. If you just put in the heading Iain Lee or breakfast or something like that, then we'll get it and we will have a little look at it. Now, we can go back to our reporter, Justin Dealey, who is live at Langleybury Mansion in Hertfordshire, and he's looking for ghoulies. Justin, have you found anything yet?
Well, I've got to say, Ian, that this is a very, very creepy place. The mansion itself, Langleybury Mansion in Hertfordshire, it dates back to 1752.
Yep.
The house has been empty since what, the 1990s?
Something like that, yes.
Yeah, owned by the Grove Hotel, now a film location, but it used to be flats. Now, Ian Howe, we heard briefly from Ian earlier on, he lived here, and he has taken me back inside this house. Take a listen to this. Now, Ian, you lived in this building back in the 50s and the 60s. We're standing by the main staircase here. Tell us what you saw here many years ago.
Well, on a number of occasions, I've seen a ghost-like figure walk down those first set of stairs and then down these. It was a lady, quite young, in a white dress. They're always in a white dress. Yeah. And she'd walk down here. She'd never get past about the 4th or 5th step. She'd always disappear at that point. And if you went towards her to try and see who it was, that would be it. She'd be gone. But yes, on a number of occasions, myself and many of my friends, I was quite young at the time, would see her coming down the stairs, but no one ever got close to her.
Incredible. Any ideas as to who that might be?
Well, originally, this was Queen Elizabeth I's hunting lodge. It was built for that. So whether it was anything to do with that or not, we're not sure. We assume it must have been. And I know she did have some women who worked for her, one of them whom died in this house, so it could well be her that came down. There's some other stairs a bit further back in the corner, and there's been a few things going on over there. I never actually saw anything in the far corner on the stairs we haven't actually been to yet, but there's been some people seen there as well.
Incredible. OK, we've been told not to go into the cellar. Yes. We're about to go into the cellar right now. All sorts of weird things have happened, so I'm just going to walk around the corner in this house. It's Langleybury Mansion in Hertfordshire. I'm going to take a slow walk down these stairs. Goodness me, it looks creepy. OK, right, here we go. So we're now onto the last stair. We're now inside the cellar. I know this is probably cliche, but there is a weird feeling down here. It's very, very dark. There's all sorts of tunnels. You used to come down here when you were a child because this is where things like butter was kept. What have you experienced in this cellar, Ian?
Well, yes, I used to be sent down. Breakfast was always a difficult time. I had to come down and get things like the butter and the milk because we didn't have a fridge at that time. And then, and also when I used to come down and play, you used to hear lots of children playing down here, and you could never find them. So a lot of friends of mine would come down and we'd all look down the end there. As you can see, it goes right down to the end, and the noise of the children would be playing just down there, and we'd sort of head off down there to go and play with them, and when we get there, there's no one there, which is always quite worrying.
You see, I'm so glad we've got a torch. So as far as you're concerned, this is 100% haunted?
Without a shadow of a doubt, yes. With children and the lady on the stairs.
I mean, even being here today, now as an adult, a lot of your stories, of course, are from your childhood, but are you quite genuinely scared about being back in the cellar again?
Yes, I'm very grateful to have you with me, to be honest, especially as you're taller than me. So.
I can't fight ghosts, I'm not a ghostbuster.
No, but they'll see you coming before they see me, I'll be off, don't worry. So, yeah, no, absolutely, without a doubt. It brings back a lot of memories, to be honest, and, yes, we can't hear them at the moment, but it's a bit early, I think. Probably be playing later on.
So that was myself with Ian Howe inside Langley.
Bit early for the gut. Can't hear them now. I can't see them. Can't hear them now. But trust me, yes, they're down here.
Slight hiss on the line. One thing I would say: a number of my batteries have gone this morning.
Oh,
yes. Now that's quite an unusual
thing. That is a little bit
yes.
something. Were they all fully charged?
Yes, they were. So a few of those have gone. Now Langley Mansion, it's open for the first time to the public, especially for Halloween. If you want to see some more photographs, find out how you can get involved. It's open from 6 o'clock this evening. It is scarenation.info, but it is a very, very creepy place.
Now, you genuinely believe in ghosts?
I do, 100%.
Did you feel anything down in that cellar?
Well, as I said there, it sounded cliche, but I could feel something. You got to remember this place goes back to 1752. It could even go back further than that. So there's so much history here, so many different stories, but there is definitely a weird feeling. If ever I've seen a haunted house, this is the place.
Justin, as well, going off on a little bit of a tangent, I guess it's vaguely connected. Halloween. Are you a fan of Halloween? Have you got a bag of sweets by your front door? Or are you? I can imagine exactly what you're like. A bucket of water.
A bucket of water. Well, as a child, I used to enjoy it. I used to enjoy it greatly, but I think as I've got older, a bit like you, Ian, I've got a bit grumpy about it. I don't mind it, but I certainly don't go out trick-or-treating, put it that way.
I hope you wouldn't. You're pushing 40. I've got a bag of sweets by my front door, though. If any 8, 9-year-olds come, they can have a little lucky dip, have a Twix or something.
Yeah, I can't see you going out and buying a bag of sweets for trick-or-treating. Are you being serious?
Yeah.
You do that?
On the way home, we've got a pumpkin outside, which means we're open for business.
Yeah.
And I'm going to get, on the way home, I'm going to stop off, get a bag of sweeties and have them by the front door. If anyone comes, as long as they're not, 15, 16, they can get lost.
Well, here's a question, actually. If somebody knocks at your door and they say trick or treat, and you say, OK, trick, well, what happens next?
Well, you've given them carte blanche to do anything, to write... I nearly said something rude there.
Yeah.
To write swear words on your front door if they want. Yes, you've given them carte blanche.
Right, I better be careful tonight.
Be very careful, Justin Dealey. Thank you. I'm so surprised he believes in ghosts. He's such a we have meetings after this show to discuss what we might be talking about later in the week or whatever. And he's always angry and so forthright and grounded in reality. He believes in ghosts. Do you? Give us a call and let us know. This is Iain Lee, BBC Three Counties Radio. 08459 455 555 is the telephone number if you want to give us a call. Lots for you to have your say about in the next and last hour of the show, including police forces in the 3 counties have stepped up patrols for Halloween. Are you a fan of Halloween? And perhaps more importantly, have you ever seen a ghost? I don't believe. I'd love to believe. I would love to see a ghost. Have you? 81333, start your text 3CR. Learner drivers are causing congestion in Caddington. And here's an interesting one. How much TV do your kids or your grandchildren watch? It's claimed by the time they're 7, the average kid will have watched a year's worth. You can get in touch on the Twitter, at Iain Lee or at BBC 3CR. You can text 81333, starting your text 3CR. Or you can give us a call. 08459 455 555.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Now, It's Halloween, which means you may be worried that your car or house will end up covered in egg or flour. Our local police forces in Beds, Herts and Bucks have told BBC Three Counties that they will be stepping up targeted patrols tonight. Thames Valley Police, which covers Milton Keynes and Buckinghamshire, says last Halloween was the busiest day of the year for them. Well, last night our reporter, Jessica Cooper, went out on patrol with PC Jason Rowe in Milton Keynes and they spoke to some teenagers.
Why eggs? What is it about eggs
because,
and flour?
Yeah, people go egging, yeah, because they think they're big and it's a crack, it's a laugh, and like they like the little thrill of getting chased and everything. But they haven't got like the heart to actually like break someone's window and chuck a stone through it. I did it like a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And it's so childish, and I got caught once and it scared me.
So
scared
do you think it's the norm that people are sort of accepting that egging is the thing to do on Trick or Treat?
Yeah, I think most kids think that's the norm to do. They love it.
When you did it a couple of years ago, why did you want to do that in the first place?
No, I just did it because everyone else is doing it. I didn't really chuck it. I might have chucked one or two, but I was just like, me and my girls, we were doing it, but the boys do it, and we were just like running, and everyone's like, run, run, run. It's like that adrenaline rush. Kids, they love that, do you know what I mean?
So why wouldn't you do it now then? What's changed?
When you grow up, you realise, like, what if my nan got egged? I would be so annoyed. Like, she can't go out there and clean it all up. That's out of order, do you know what I mean? That means I've got to go around there and clean it up for her. I know mates that my age, that they'll probably still be doing that this year. Some people grow up faster than others, don't they?
Have you egged and floured before?
No, I think it's pathetic. It's not worth doing it.
Are you planning to go out with eggs and flour?
No, I'm not planning to do that either. A bit disrespectful, really, isn't it?
Well, all of our local police forces have released posters which people can display in their front doors, their windows, if they don't want trick-or-treaters. Superintendent Matthew Nichols from Hertfordshire Police is the local policing deputy commander. Good morning, Superintendent.
Good morning, Ian.
How do you prepare for tonight? Do you call in extra resources? What's the plan?
Well, first of all, what we do is we look at what's happened years before, and we recognise that Halloween in particular has found its profile raised recently with, as per your report, with individuals talking about egging and flouring, which we would discourage. So we look at what's happened over the last years, look at where our seats of antisocial behaviour and disorder might be, and then plan accordingly. So this is now a well-oiled machine for Hertfordshire Constabulary. We look at where the demand is and increase resources. So we have extra policing, extra police community support officers, and extra special constabulary officers on duty throughout today and throughout the week.
How recent has this kind of, peak in antisocial behaviour been? Because I remember when I was a kid, excuse me, Halloween, it wasn't anything. It didn't really exist.
Interesting point, and I think it's more of a social issue, really. I mean, I try and think back to, likewise, when I was a child, and I don't remember it having any prominence, and I think probably it's been in about the last decade,
right,
where we've seen Halloween being taken over more around this whole trick-or-treat element, as opposed to children enjoying the idea of a festival, really. I mean, you talked about in your article earlier, it talked about had you seen a ghost, and I think there's something about an element of making sure that there is fun around Halloween and that we discourage the antisocial behaviour element, which is, and it's an interesting point, I've never heard the term egging before, but egging and flouring, we would strongly discourage that.
What kind of other things, apart from the egging and flouring, what kind of other things do you think you might be having to deal with?
Well, at the higher end of disorder, we have seen in the past sort of criminal behaviour, which, public order offences, shouting and swearing and being threatening to people. But at the lower end, it is the things like egging and flouring.
We've seen these little posters, these cards you can put in your window and on your letterbox saying, no trick-or-treats, please. Do things like that actually work?
Well, I mean, this is something that we're really trying to push this year to understand whether it does or doesn't. I mean, I'm aware of people on Halloween that will, literally turn out their lights and, stay in the back room of a house to avoid people coming to their door, and that's really unacceptable. People should feel safe in their own homes, and by being proactive and showing these posters, it will hopefully encourage better behaviour, more responsible behaviour, and allow more people to get involved in something that should be fun for children to have some fun with their parents.
Matthew, 2 questions before we go. First one, will you have a bag of sweeties by your front door for kids?
I will, because I have a 3-year-old daughter who has got a witch's outfit to wear this evening.
Excellent, good for you. And final question, Superintendent Matthew Nichols. Have you ever seen a ghost?
Not to date, no.
Okay. Do you believe in them?
I think that's a conversation for another time.
Come on, we're getting the human side of the police force here, Matthew.
I believe in some supernatural powers, yes.
Fantastic. Superintendent... there's the wrong fader. Superintendent Matthew Nichols, thank you very much indeed. Thank you very much. Talking about Halloween, are you a fan of it? Are you excited by it? Good egg for him for having a bag of sweets by the door. He's got a 3-year-old daughter, and that's kind of the age where the kids start going, oh, this looks fun. Can I wear a costume? My little boy's not quite aware of it yet, but... We have done pumpkins, and we had a little sort of mini party in their bedroom the other day. It was just them and me and their mum, and they were dressed up in their ghostly costumes. And isn't it interesting that the police officer, the superintendent, believes in slightly supernatural things that are out there? And people do. People do. The most sensible, down-to-earth people do. If you've ever seen a ghost, right, 08459 455 555. And if you think it's complete and utter nonsense and everyone should grow up, also give us a call. Talking about Halloween, Robin is in Hemel Hempstead. Good morning, Robin.
Good morning, Ian.
Now, you are preparing for what I believe is known as a Halloween howl-up.
It has been called that.
What on earth is it, man?
Well, essentially, every Halloween, we started, I must have been 7-8 years ago, just putting a few decorations outside our house. And since then... these decorations have grown and grown and grown, so now it's a case of we have inflatables that are 15 foot tall, sound effects, smoke machines, lightning machines, and hundreds of people just turn up from all around the neighbours, the community, everyone just comes along and all dressed up and just joining in, and it's basically almost a street party.
Wow. Listen, I'm all up for street parties. I love things like that. But some people will say, for goodness sakes, Robin, it's a horrible Americanism. What on earth are you doing importing that toot from over there?
Well, obviously there's parts of it that are Americanised, but obviously if you look back into Halloween, it does date back to it's a British tradition, an old pagan tradition where it started, and then obviously it was imported or exported over to America, and then they... What the Americans do quite well, glamorised it, and it's sort of come back, and it just seems to have grown every year. More and more people seem to be getting involved with it.
Do you get anyone, Robin, who is offended by it? I'll tell you why I asked that, because a couple of weeks ago on Jonathan's show, there was, on the Consumer Hour, there was a caller who'd booked a week away and hadn't realised it was going to be a Halloween-themed week, and her religious beliefs prohibited her from indulging in Halloween. Do you ever get anyone who says, come on now, this is not appropriate, you should take all this down?
Absolutely, no.
Right.
Never have. Nobody's come along. In fact, many people have come along and asked if we are collecting for charity or anything like that, which we don't do. We just do it for the fun of it. I've got 2 little girls myself, and they join in. All of their friends come along, and their parents, everybody dresses up, and it just becomes a fun night. We sort of start, as soon as it gets dark, all the lights go on, and everyone just sort of hangs around, chats. It was always the first time I met all of my neighbours from my street when we did this, and now everyone comes along, and actually people come along and said, oh, would you like this? And people have given us stuff to put up as well to join in. So nobody has ever said, oh, this is a disgrace or anything like that. So it's actually where something good has come of it. Yeah. People, Halloween has always had a bit of a reputation. Oh, the teenagers do this, and they run around knocking on doors and throwing stuff at windows. Nothing like that at all.
Robin, listen, have a cracking night. Listen, I do like a bit of a street party. You don't get many street parties these days. The street I'm in, they have a party every year. And it's nice because you get to see your neighbours, you get to kind of hang out, you get to meet people. It creates a sense of community. And I'm all for that. Small communities kind of supporting each other and stuff like that. We've got a caller coming up after the travel and the news headlines who claims to have a ghost that follows her and visits her around. We'll speak to Luann from Amptell in a bit. In sport, England are batting. Now, we have a correction in this, I believe. I've been criticised on Twitter by Daniel. It's cricket. I don't know anything about cricket. I've been saying a touch match. Apparently it's a tour match. Who knows? We'll investigate and find out, and someone will let you know. England are batting on day 2 of their tour match against India. A short time ago, they were 136 for 4 in the 40th over. Jonathan Vernon Smith. Now, who's getting cold feet about the shooting now? You're coming in looking a little bit anxious about it.
No, I'm fine. I'm confident. I've been taking a bit of target practice.
Have you?
Yes, I've been aiming at things.
With what?
With pebbles, with anything like that. Seeing if I can hit them.
So, for those who don't know, Jonathan and I are going to Luton Hoo tomorrow, and we're going to go clay pigeon shooting, which I'm very excited about.
In tweed.
I've got to dress smart, haven't I? And you've been practising by throwing pebbles at things.
Yes. Gravel.
Well,
any little bits and pieces.
That's not how guns work.
No, but I'm perfecting my aim, because I've never been very good with my aim.
Right.
I can't throw.
Do throw this. We have the new Steps single here. Throw the new Steps CD. Try. A little bit. You shot before you were meant to. A little bit trigger happy, I think.
See. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, just, if I were you, stay well away from wherever they do the shooting at Luton Hoo tomorrow.
I will do a 5-mile radius from the whole of Luton Hoo.
Yeah.
I will be recording it. We will record it and then we will play it out on the air at some point. It probably will get played out next week, so as long as I survive it, to edit it.
Oh, that would be so awful. I wonder who'd have to do breakfast if I shot you tomorrow.
Why are you saying it in that slightly menacing way? Why are you doing that?
I'd just like to have a backup plan. I mean, had we better get someone organised for a Friday?
David Prever is on standby. The boss has him on speed dial just in case. Everyone's been warned. Okay, so but just I don't like this slightly menacing tone that you're setting it up. So
no, don't worry, you'll be all right.
If I get shot, they're so playing this in court, and you're going to go to prison for 20 years.
20?
Yes.
Is that all I'd get?
It sounds even more tempting.
It's almost worth it for the crack.
Beg your pardon. Maybe you should tell us what's happening on your show.
Well, coming up on the show this morning, I'm continuing with your discussion you've been having today.
Yes.
Ronnie Wood. What about him?
He's only 65. He looks a lot. He looks about 85.
He does. He's not aged well.
He's the most leathery of all the leathery stones.
So she's 34. Yep. He's 65. That means when she was 16, he was 47. Just to put that in a different kind of perspective.
OK, thank you.
Sally Humphries is Ronnie Wood's third wife, and whilst we all wish them well, is 31 years just too great an age gap to build a successful relationship? Let me shout some couples at you.
Please do.
Tom Cruise and Katie Holmes.
What was the age gap there?
Quite a lot.
So you don't know?
Well, I've got it upstairs, I didn't bring that down. Demi Moore and Ashton Kutcher.
What was the age gap there?
About 16 years. Les Dennis and Amanda Holden. Madonna and Jesus. I mean, these are just some...
What was his name?
Jesus. These are just some of the celebrity couples for which an age gap has been too much. Well, from 9 this morning, do age gap relationships always end in tears?
Oh, you're on form today, yes.
Jesus was a... Why do you... Is he laughing? What was his name?
His name's Jesus. You're like those terrible news reporters. Luckily, Catherine doesn't do it. Those terrible reporters who, when they pronounce a foreign name, and earlier on in Tehran, there was, and they do the accent. You don't do the. You don't go. And earlier on in Newcastle, they don't do that.
but that's his name. You can't. If he's called Jesus, you can't start saying, "All right, Jesus."
But that's his name. At a push, I call him Jesus. But not...
Yes, but if you say, you know, como te llama, and he says, mi amor es Jesus, you can't say, all right, Jesus. You're just rude. His name's Jesus.
All right, Jesus. Oh, don't! I'm going to let myself have a little bit.
Yeah. I go now.
That's the show, is it? Okay, please do. If you want to... Could you say it one more time, please?
Do age gap relationships always end in tears?
I meant, could you say Jesus again?
Jesus. What?
Oh dear, I'll be honest, a tiny little bit of wee has come out. It has. I shouldn't share that, but I've just done it. Thank you very much. I'm going to press this for a second.
Across beds, hearts and bucks, this is Iain Lee on BBC Three Counties Radio.
Okay, can we stop him coming in? I think that's the only way to defeat this. Well, because this show, the team here and I are really starting to kick this show into shape. Got a way to go, but it's getting there. And then he just comes in and sabotages it. We need to work on that. We're talking about ghosts. Have you ever seen a ghost? Luann is from Ampthill. Good morning, Luann.
Good morning. I just want to say you two are completely wasted.
In more ways than one. I'm sorry you have to follow that embarrassment of broadcasting.
No, you make my morning. You really do.
Oh dear, he's very naughty, that JVS, isn't he?
You both are.
Oh dear, I got to carry on after that nonsense. Right, listen, you've seen a ghost, have you?
I haven't seen one, no.
Oh. Why have you called in?
Well, because I have a shop in Ampthill.
Yes.
And before I moved in, the lady who had it before me said, "Oh, I hope you're waiting. You're ready for something." And I went, "What do you mean? Am I ready for something?" She said, "Well, we've got a little friend." And I said, "Okay." I said, "What do you mean, a little friend?" She said, "Well, somebody used to come in and line up all of our nail varnishes." I was like, "Right, okay." I said, "Oh, it doesn't bother me." Kind of didn't really think about it until the second day that I moved in my shop with my little work experience, who was 14 going on 15. Yeah. And she came in, she said, "What did you do with all these toys?" I went, "What do you mean, what did I do with all of them?" She said, "All these toys are all lined up in a row." We had a little play table in the middle of the room.
Yeah.
And these plastic animals had all been lined up, row by row. Oh, no. Nobody had been in the shop apart from me and her. So I know that it wasn't either of us two.
Yeah.
So we just poo-pooed it, and kind of the spark went up on the back of my neck, and I thought, no, somebody's winding us up.
Good use of the phrase poo-poo. Well done. I like it. Yeah, no, it's one of my favourite phrases. Good work, yes.
So anyway, a few days later, after we came in, we'd set all the shop up and everything, and we came in, and there was a circle of the same animals on the same table.
Oh, no.
And that just got it. I thought, right, okay, welcome to the shop. I thought, if you've got the ideal shop you can play in now. So we call him Harry.
Good use, not such a good use of the phrase wee-wee. So, I'm so not going to last my contract. So, you have a little boy, it's a little boy called Harry.
Well, that's what we've named him,
right.
Yeah.
And how often does he come and arrange the toys?
Well, it seems once we sussed him out, he kind of didn't visit as often as what we kind of, like, because I came in almost expecting things to have happened. Yeah. And it always happens when you least expect it. It's like as if to say, well, I'm going to catch you out today because you're not looking for me.
Right.
And that's when it happens. Like the things will be on the floor that weren't there, or it's line. He just loves lines or shapes of putting things in circles or lines.
Luann, can I ask you a question?
What?
Do you like a drink?
No, I don't drink at all. You can ask my husband. He's standing right next to me.
Put him on.
Yeah, okay. Here you go.
Hello?
Does she drink?
Not at all. Never.
What's your name, sir?
My name's Jim.
Jim, do you... Now, listen, she seems convinced by this ghost. Are you as convinced?
Yeah, I would have thought... Yeah, I believe her. I don't disbelieve her, but...
Listen, are you only saying that because she's next to you?
Well, no. I'm married to her and all, but...
So you believe in this ghost as well?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Jim and Luann, thank you very much indeed. Spooky, huh? See, when you hear things... listen, I don't believe in ghosts. I'd love to. When you hear things like that... Does it send a little shiver down your spine? That does me. My heart's beating a little bit. I'll tell you something else that gets my heart beating a little bit. Nick Coffer. Ooh. Nick, from 12 till 3 o'clock. At 12 today, Nick speaks to Demand, a charity that makes bespoke equipment for disabled people. Also, Gary Hughes tells Nick how he's benefited from using the equipment. He's got clairvoyant Gillian Kemp coming in to give an insight into the supernatural. And from 2, computer whiz Peter Rochford is answering your questions. Now, this is a sick twist here, isn't it? Computer whiz Peter Rochford coming to answer your questions. Email him now. Well, if your computer's not working, you don't know how to do it, you're screwed. But if your computer is working, nick at bbc.co.uk. Nick Coffer, today, from midday.
Across beds, hearts and bucks, this is Iain Lee on BBC Three Counties Radio.
There's a big Ferris wheel nicknamed the Luton Eye. It's up in St George's Square in Luton. Now, reporter Ollie Bayliss went to visit the big wheel with local historian Chris Grabham.
So I'm in St George's Square, underneath the Luton Eye, with local historian Chris Grabham, and we're going to go up and see what we can see from up there. How are you with heights, Chris?
I think I'm okay, but we'll find out when we get up there.
We're about halfway up, and I have to say I'm quite surprised how far we can see up here.
Yes, I can see more than I expected. Over behind us, you can see the new town hall. Well, I say new, it opened in 1936, but it replaced an earlier one that was burnt down in the riot of 1919. Next door to it, you've got the old Liberal Club, which is now a couple of shops, and I think behind it you've got town hall offices. That's a Grade 2 listed building, like the town hall.
If we were here, say, in the 1940s, how different would St George's Square have looked?
It would have looked very different. You would have had another row of buildings on this side of Manchester Street, facing the shops there. You would have had over where you've got the Galaxy Centre now, you've got the Co-op buildings, and also there was a garage, Dickinson and Adams, which later became part of the Co-op, and that was all demolished to make way for the Galaxy Centre. And of course the Arndale Centre over this side wouldn't have been there. You would have had, just along here, Williamson Street, and a whole network of streets underneath the Arndale Centre itself, including Waller Street, which sort of goes down pretty much along the spine of the Arndale. You would have had shops and hat factories and other industrial units around there.
Which buildings around here would have been the old hat factories when Luton was famous for hat making?
Well, quite a lot of them. There's a building that you can see just now they've demolished the car park straight ahead was a hat factory, and that's another Grade 2 listed building. And right along Guildford Street you had quite a lot of hat factory buildings, and you've still got some hat factories still going in Luton today, especially in the Hightown area. It's not nearly such a big industry as it used to be, but Luton still does its bit for hat making.
I'm here with Robbie, who's one of the guys that's running the Luton Eye. Now, how long are you here for?
Till the actual 4th of November.
So there's a lot of locals, I guess, that are keen to see what Luton looks like from that sort of height.
Yeah, there has been a few on, wondering what the views are about like, and a few have got on, took some photos when we've had some clear days, so it's not too bad.
Is this something you do every year?
Yeah, well, we travel with it all over the country and that, so it's quite nice. You meet different people all the time as well, which is a nice thing to do in life, you know, we enjoy it.
We're standing outside the Luton Eye. Is this something that would appeal to you?
Absolutely. I think it's fantastic. I haven't seen it yet, so it's brilliant. I didn't even know it was up.
It's here for the rest of the week. Is it something you're going to give a go?
I would love to. I'm trying to convince my son to come on it with me, but no, it's a great idea. Really, really cool.
Is the Luton Eye something you would consider going on?
Not in a million years.
Why is that?
It's the wrong place. It's in a built-up area in the middle of town. It's completely in the wrong place altogether.
Is going on the Luton Eye something that would appeal to you?
Oh, yes. I saw it last week and hoping to get on it. It's for someone like who's on low budget, can't seem to go London, you know.
What is it that appeals to you about it?
It looks similar like London Eye. You get the feel of London Eye.
There we go. Excellent work there from our reporter, Ollie Bayliss.
On FM, AM and online. BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's been fun this morning. There's several bits of this I think will be posted online as an audio boot. If you don't know what it is, it means we take little 2, 3, 4 minute sections of the show and put them back up online so you can hear them again as little standout bits. You can, of course, listen to the whole show again anytime by going to the BBC iPlayer. And if you type in me, Iain Lee, and it's Iain, I-A-I-N, you need that extra I to locate me, I-A-I-N, then you can find the shows. I think they're up there for about a week or something like that. I don't quite know. Coming up in this half an hour, do you believe in ghosts? I don't. We've had some cracking stories from people that... The thing is, the people that have called in and that we've spoken to, and the lady, Veronica, whose house I went to visit, they're all... I don't mean this as an insult. They're all so normal. It's not fruitcake saying, well, I saw a ghost and it comes and lives in with me. They're normal people telling these stories. I don't believe in them. I'm open-minded. I would love to believe in them, but I'm not convinced. Also, in this half hour, why one Luton councillor is fed up with learner drivers clogging up the town's roads. If you want to give us a call, 08459 455 555, or you can text 81333, starting your text 3CR. Kate is in Luton. Good morning, Kate.
Good morning.
Kate, have you seen a ghost?
I have, but we've had lots of things going on in our house.
Well, go on, tell us some.
Well, the one I seen was in my bedroom, and that frightened the life out of me, and I thought it was my husband, but that's another story. The main one is... Sorry.
What did you see?
I saw a man stood in my bedroom door, fully clothed, as solid can be.
Yes.
And I put my hand to my husband and felt him still in bed with me.
Oh, my God.
And I made him get out of bed and check the house we weren't being burgled.
So this was... Had you just woken up?
I was wide awake, because I'm a bit of an insomniac.
Okay, but your daughter's seen a ghost as well, has she?
She has. When she was very little, she screamed at me. Mummy, there's a little boy sat next to my brother. And I went upstairs and said, okay. And she said he was still there and I couldn't see anything. And then I said, well, what's his name then? And she told me. And I said, well, you said he died of a coughing sickness, Mummy. So I looked it up on the internet, on the census that had just gone live at the time, because she told me the date he'd been born. I can't remember the details now, though.
What was his name? Do you remember his name?
I remember the surname was Crabtree, but I can't remember the first name. All I remember is it being quite unusual.
Yeah, okay.
And I looked it up and, well, I found a family called Crabtree living on a farm with a little boy with this name.
Right.
I got a medium in to check it out, and she came. I didn't tell her any details. She confirmed that she was seeing this little boy, and he had kind of TB. There was a little girl that was playing with them as well, with a pram, spirit pram. And
this is some spooky shizzle you're giving me here.
It was very free, and I'm convinced that ghosts exist now, absolutely 100%.
Oh, Kate, you swear on your life that this is true, that this is a true story. You're not winding me up.
I swear on my children's life it is not made up. And, I mean, we also saw my husband's granddad visited one day. He was in the corner of the room where our telly used to be, and the telly turned off and on again, and my husband just said, oh, my granddad just popped his head through the wall and disappeared. And apparently what we've been told by the medium is that they use electrical equipment to get enough energy to sort of pop up.
Do you take drugs, Kate?
No,
okay.
I don't.
Okay, I can't go down that avenue. There's some. I find it. Were these all in the same house or in different homes?
All in the same house. We've lived in the same house all our marriage, and I don't really drink either, so I can't even blame that.
Kate, I appreciate you. Have you told your friends that you've seen these things?
I have told friends that believe, yes.
Okay, if you told, so you've got friends that don't believe. Would they laugh at you if you said something?
I do find worrying that they might think I'm absolutely bonkers, but when I told them that particular story, when I looked it up on the internet, one of them changed their mind a little bit.
Wow.
And thought there was a bit more, maybe there was something in it.
Kate, listen, Kate in Luton. Now listen, when you hear things like that, I have Kate's word for it. She said, didn't she sound normal and straightforward and sensible? Sensible, I think, is the word, more than normal. I'm sure she has no reason to make that up. But it gets me jealous that I've not seen anything then. If this does happen, then why haven't I seen anything? If you've got any stories, or if you think it's all nonsense, let's try and get a bit of balance here. If you think it's all nonsense, complete guff. 08459 455 555. Tony's in Milton Keynes. Good morning, Tony.
Good morning, Ian.
Halloween, are you a fan of it?
Neither way. It doesn't count in my calendar, sort of thing.
Will you have a bag of sweeties by your front door?
I usually do anyway. They're for me.
Good for you. Good for you. Your nephew is celebrating Halloween in a strange way, isn't he?
Yeah. Well, I'm not making this comment about you. It's about me. But being a bit sick and a bit slow on the uptake.
Yes.
I got a wedding invitation from them about a month ago.
Yeah.
Nicely done on card and everything. Unique style of writing, etc.
Yes.
And it's only been in the last few days that the pennies dropped because they're both goths.
Oh,
okay.
I'm
and
so sorry to hear that.
Pagans too.
Right.
And the card then, the wedding is today, the 31st of October.
Yeah.
Okay, and I phoned my sister and I said, it's Halloween. She said, yes, that's why they're doing it.
Oh.
Take a look at the little note at the bottom, and it says where the registry office is, and it says, followed by supper and spirits.
Oh.
So they're getting married specifically because it's Halloween.
Hang on a second. So it's a Halloween-themed wedding?
Well, they don't say that specifically, but they've obviously dropped clues in it. It does say we don't want a formal dress attire.
You totally have to dress up as Dracula.
Well, I'm just going to go as I am because I'm 65 now and I look in the mirror every day and I see a ghost in there. It's this grey old stalking man.
Listen, you've totally got to go as Dracula. One of my... let me go off on a slight tangent if you'll indulge me. Last week, Friday, I was at Luton Airport, flying to Glasgow, and I saw a woman wearing a cape. Right, she was wearing a cape, and I got really jealous because I would love to wear a cape, and men can't wear capes. They can't do it unless they're dressed as vampires, Tony.
That's good, isn't it?
It is good to get a cape, slick back your hair, Ray Reardon styley. As a reference for the 18, 19-year-old and 20-year-old kids listening.
I'm two-thirds there already.
Exactly. Well, go as a vampire.
There's another little twist to this.
Go on.
It's just again dawned on me. It's sort of like a synchronicity thing.
Yeah.
His surname is Priestman.
There you go. You see, it's getting too spooky. Tony, we have to end it there because I'm afraid that the people listening to the show, it's half term. We've got kids listening to the show. I'm very popular with the 14-year-old children, and they'll be absolutely terrified. They will be absolutely, maybe not popular actually, they've never heard of me. But if I were popular with those children, they will be terrified by that last call. 08459 455 555. Learner drivers in Caddington, here's a change of pace if ever there was one, need to be moved on to stop traffic congestion, according to the local councillor. Councillor Richard Stay has written on his blog that people are puzzled as to why so many learner drivers use the village roads. He says there are often queues of learners doing three-point turns on estate roads. Our reporter, Victoria Cook, went to speak to the people of Caddington and asked them how busy it gets with learners. Oh, no, they didn't at all. Let's try again, shall we, Victoria? Yes, thank you.
It can get very busy. Here and Slip End. And in the mornings, they're a nightmare. Like I say, more so Slip End, because they're just everywhere over there. And they just slow everybody down, like, you know. Basically, I think they should go on an industrial estate out the way. That's where they should be learning to drive until they can drive properly and keep in flow with the traffic.
So you're a learner driver. Tell me what it's like while you're learning to drive on roads around here.
People get up the back here pretty close and that. It's like they've got no time for learners.
Do you think it gets busy around the Caddington area with learner drivers?
It does, yeah. We get a load of them around here, yeah. The only place I've seen learner drivers is around Elm Avenue, and they always use that Ledwell Road and the next close to practice reversing. No, I haven't seen any learner driver causing a problem around here.
I can't say it. They've all got to learn. They do drive me mad, but then I think about my daughters who will be doing it soon, and I try to get a bit more patience.
But they've got to learn somewhere, I suppose, but there must be better places than around a little village like this with one bad road, you know, or two bad roads, perhaps, with that one.
And it has an impact on the whole village?
Well, it does, yeah. Especially around the side streets, you know, you drive around the corner and someone's coming backwards at you, you know, and bit off-putting.
Well, we're joined now by Chris Budgeon. He's from Axel's Driving School in Hemel Hempstead. Morning, Chris.
Good morning, yeah.
Now, listen, I only just found this out, but earlier on when we were planning the programme, we spoke to a female driving instructor in Watford to see if she'd come on. She didn't want to come on the show, but she told us that she was once, and this is incredible, was once punched in the face by an angry resident who was frustrated she was teaching pupils to drive down their road. I'm assuming that's not common, but have you heard stories of not necessarily physical violence, but residents getting angry?
Yeah, definitely. I've experienced it myself.
Really?
Yes, on occasion. Not to the extent of any violence.
What happened?
Well, I mean, a similar thing really. I was doing a parallel park once myself in Tring, and just had a local resident approach the car, knocked on the window, and just asked me in a slightly angry manner, you know, would you mind moving on somewhere else and not doing that on my car? I was quite happy to do that. I did point out to him that if he didn't really appreciate people doing it on his car, that he could have parked it on his driveway.
Yeah.
But yeah, on occasions I've had I had actually a pedestrian on one occasion come up and knock on my window and say to me, "I don't think you're fit to be an instructor.
Wow.
You've parked, you know, on the brow of a hill, and you're far too close to a junction." At which point, you know, I pointed out to him that I was actually doing a mock test, and it wasn't actually my decision as to where the learner was parking. Obviously, I'm not allowed to give him any assistance, you know, in that situation.
Do you ever feel intimidated, Chris?
Once or twice. I mean, it's rare. I mean, sometimes, you know, the vast majority of people sometimes are just a little bit inconsiderate, and everybody wants to get past the learner. They don't want to be held up. So you experience people doing, you know, sort of things that probably they shouldn't be. I've experienced people going the wrong side of mini roundabouts, for example, just to get past reverse or go the wrong side of keep left signs and that sort of thing to get in front of you.
I'm always very respectful of the learner drivers. I keep a distance, never beep them, never flash them.
Well, I think that there are some that are very, very considerate, but they seem to be the minority, unfortunately. I think the vast majority of people often do drive very, very close behind you, and sometimes it's just a little bit of lack of understanding. So I've had people say, why don't you go and choose a quieter road to practice those manoeuvres? Which obviously is why, obviously generally when you're first teaching them, you do tend to choose the quieter roads and the wider roads. But people seem to forget that when you're doing a test, in the real world, you have to be on a road where there is going to be some traffic, because that's more similar to the actual situation, on the practical test. And so, inevitably, you are going to hold one or two people up.
Chris, listen, we're out of time, but thank you very much. Chris Budgeon there from Axel's Driving School in Hemel Hempstead. I wasn't aware of people getting a bit feisty with the driving instructors. Wow. And don't forget that JVS will be on in 12 minutes' time. I'll be asking, can age gap relationships ever work? Can they ever last? It does strike me as odd. We've been talking about this because Ronnie Wood is 65. He's marrying a girl 34. Can they work? The biggest age gap we found amongst our listeners was 28. You've got 10 minutes if you want to get in touch and let me know of a bigger age gap. Justin Dealey has been out and about speaking to people here in Kings Langley.
I am.
Justin, would you ever consider an older or a younger lady? So it's a weird question, does it? Sorry, I don't mean it to sound as inappropriate and crass as it does.
I am quite happy at this moment in time, but never say never, as they say. Oh dear, I'm in trouble now. I'm in trouble.
Let's move on. What have you got for us?
Well, I'm in Kings Langley in Hertfordshire, lovely village. I'm here with Jeff. We're going to get some live reaction to this story. Jeff, welcome to the programme. Ronnie Wood, 65. Sally Humphreys, 34. Your reaction?
Well, I think she must like his guitar prowess, or she's got a dad who's about as old as I am and probably wants good tickets to a good concert, so he's probably pushing her into this, I expect.
Yeah. Like the sarcasm. Now, you have a story yourself about your daughter. Tell us more about that.
Well, she said I can say this, but I have a daughter who's 22 and 23 now, and she lives with a really nice guy who's about 20 years older than she is. And, her mum and I were a bit surprised, but he seems a really, really good guy, and frankly, we're glad he can take care of her, because we gave up.
I mean, talking man to man here, how do you feel about this? When you first heard about this, and 20 years is quite a big age gap, how did you feel about that as her dad?
Well, honestly, you worry about, both of them for that matter. He's actually a really nice chap, and once you meet somebody, like anything in life, once you face up to it, it's never near as bad as you imagine. And he's a lovely guy, and you just worry for both of them that they're into something that, will work for both of them and they don't get hurt. And that's what you worry about your kids mostly for. You just don't want to see them get hurt.
Is he immature?
No, but he has a lot of fun. Has a cool car.
so you think, hopefully, look that's a great line, that, isn't it? Genius stuff here from Jeff. So long term here, Jeff, is this going to work out? Do I need to go and buy a new suit for the wedding?
I wouldn't even hazard a guess at this point. But, keep your wardrobe tidy.
Excellent stuff. There you go. How great was that, Jeff? Talking to us live this morning in Kings Langley, Iain. Terrific.
The dad of the girl that Ronnie Wood is going to marry is only 1 year older. He's 66. Ronnie Wood's 65. He's 66. And he went and got permission from the dad. It all just sounds a little bit odd to me. I like what your fella said there about maybe the dad wants tickets to see the Rolling Stones, because they're about £1,000 a piece. So.
Yeah, I heard about this. As much as I love the Rolling Stones, I have seen them live before, probably the best concert I've ever been to, but I wouldn't pay £1,000 to go and see them. But I've got to say, I think they will sell out 100%.
I saw them in 77.
Oh, hang on a second, what was that?
I saw them with, in 1977, with Kansas. In Buffalo, New York.
Wow.
Any good?
Yeah, they were a lot younger. And I saw them in Paris as well back in the 80s, and Mick Jagger definitely was wearing a prop in his trousers.
Would you pay £1,000?
No.
That's the outrageous Jeff joining us live in Kings Langley.
I don't get what Jeff means wearing a prop... I get it, right, so I just got that. Oh, dearie me. Sandra is in Bedford. Good morning, Sandra.
Good morning.
Getting a lot of calls this morning. I'm enjoying this. Sandra, you were in a relationship where there's a big age gap.
I was married to John, who was 18, 19 years older than me. When I met him, I didn't realise he was older than me, and he didn't really bother me. I loved him. We were friends to start off with, really, I suppose.
How old were you?
I was 26.
Okay. And did your family or your friends kind of go, "Oh, Sandra, what are you doing?"
Not my friends, but my mum wasn't. It was my mum really more than anything. She felt you know, that I could do better for myself and that sort of thing. But I love John, you know, and so it sort of overruled everything else. And so those things were, you know, the thing is, you have to learn to.
Sandra, Sandra, can I ask? So, where are you?
Bedford.
Well, what's going on in the background?
Oh, it was a loud speaker thing.
The loudspeaker thing's
Yeah.
in. All right, okay.
It's gone now.
And so, how long were you married to him for?
25 years.
Right.
Well, he's died now, but
Right.
I mean, I would still be married to him.
See,
but
that's
it's
part of the
25
problem,
years.
isn't it? You must have known that with him being older than you, it was likely he was going to pass before you. Did that not worry you?
We did talk about it.
Yeah.
And we've got 3 children. Lovely children. The memories they've got of their dad are good. You know, I mean, he had time for me. You know what I mean? Or just little things he had time for. And
Were there never things, though, where you'd sit down and he'd talk about, like, music or or films or something, and you go, John, I've got no idea what you're talking about, mate?
No, because the thing is, you learn to listen, and, well, I'll let you listen to what I say, you know, music I liked. I listened to what he liked, you know, and we used to talk if you didn't like it, you know. I mean, no, I think it was it's a two-way thing. You have to learn to, I don't know the word, you know.
I think the word you've got said is listen, Sandra, and that's the key, I think, in any relationship. Thank you very much, Sandra in Bedford. Husband was 18 years older. Look, I've got a load of texts and emails here. Let me try and do some of these. Dominic says, did you know the Three Counties radio station is supposed to be haunted? Yes, apparently. It's like a Viking or something who lives in the basement, or something like that, apparently. Frank says, spirits tend to home in on children. I saw one as a child, never mentioned it to anyone. Discovered recently, 30 years, that my twin saw the same one as a child in the same room on a separate occasion. Beryl talks about Halloween. When children knock on my door on Halloween, I open the door and say to the child, wow, you look fantastic. Why are you dressed like that? Child says, it's Halloween. I say, so what's that all about? Child shrugs shoulders and doesn't know, so I tell them to go away and find out and then come back. Oh, Beryl, bah humbug. Ian, I think trick-or-treat is a real nuisance. Too many elderly people are going to be quite frightened by unexpected callers. There is the potential for children knocking on strangers' doors unaccompanied. It's a licence for vandalism. Why do we still have this nonsense going on? That's Yenda in Sunderland. Right. Janet is in Milton Keynes. Good morning, Janet.
Good morning.
We've been talking about the sort of supernatural, spooky things, healing, all this kind of stuff this morning. What's your take on it?
Well, I attend a circle every week with a group of other people, and we give each other. Yeah, it's a circle of clairvoyance and mediumship.
Oh, okay. Well, so how does that work?
We give each other messages, and we train and learn how to contact the spirit world.
Okay. How do you try? Well, give me a tip on how to contact the spirit world.
Well, you need to try.
What exercises do you do? Are you laughing at me, Janet?
I am, because I know you're going to take the mickey.
No, listen, well, a little bit, yes. No, I'm not.
Yes. How do you train? Well, you need to find a medium who...
How did you know I was going to take the mickey? That's spooky.
Oh, because I'm clairvoyant, you see.
Yes, you see, yes, go on. What training do you do?
We train with a lady who's teaching us different techniques on how to open up the channels to the spirit world.
Are you getting anything now? Why is that a funny question? That's obviously going to be the next question. That's a sensible question.
No, not really.
Can you open up your channel for me? Open up your channel. Go on.
It takes,
for me.
Takes a little while.
Go on. We got 3 minutes. Open up your channel for me. Let me have a look. Go on.
What do you want me to say?
Well, I want you to see who's in the channel.
I'm not that good.
Oh, okay. Well,
especially over the radio.
I would listen. I don't believe in this, but I would love, and I've always said this on all the radio shows I've ever done, if a clairvoyant can come in and prove to me by saying things about members of my family that have passed over that no one would know, then I'm prepared to be convinced. But no one has convinced me yet, Janet.
Okay, take the challenge then. Come along to Circle and meet the mediums.
Can I record it?
Oh, I don't see why not.
Then the challenge is taken.
Okay.
Janet, you see, the challenge is taken. Janet, stay on the line. Give your details to my team. Listen, if someone can give me the evidence, and I've for 8 years of doing this kind of show, I've always put out the challenge. If a clairvoyant can we had a clairvoyant on a show I did on another station, right? He was rubbish. And he said to me on air, I had a girlfriend at the time, he said, right, I predict your relationship isn't going to last very long, and it's going to end really, really soon. It's like, oh, OK. We played a record, and off air I said to him, I'm going to go on holiday to Japan in 3 weeks, and I'm going to propose to my girlfriend. OK, she's now my wife. I'm going to propose to her. I went, OK. We came back on air, and he went, yeah, I'm getting another message. I think that there's going to be something big and quite exciting is going to happen in your relationship. I just told him what was going to happen. And then he came back. I don't believe in it. But, Janet, I accept your challenge. I shall come along the one night, if I'm OK to record it, and we will see what happens. I would love it. I'd love someone to get a message from one of my... Do you know a Dave? Probably. Probably someone in my life has met someone called Dave at some point. Go on. Do dogs mean anything? Oh, Janet, we will see. I'm going to come with an open mind. Do dogs mean anything to you? Well, yeah, I've seen dogs, We shall find out. Right. Oh, it's fun today. I enjoyed that a lot. We've got it's Steve from Hemel. This is a very grumpy email you sent in. Interesting to hear the police commander talking about criminal behaviour. Every person who either knocks on a door or hurls any good is committing a crime. From extortion to criminal damage. It's wrong and should be outlawed. Oh, bah humbug. I'm back tomorrow at 6. JVS is up next. Ta-ta.
Getting beds, hearts and bugs talking.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Iain.